The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great. Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Everybody, happy Friday. Welcome in Off the Bench. I know you said you were going to take care of it. There's no need to take care of it. I'll just take the blame.
No, I can take care of it.
It's just my fault. We were late because of me.
If you want to take, listen. If you want to dive on that sword, you can go ahead and dive on it. I'm not going to stop you.
I'm a good teammate, you know. I'm just
Yeah, I'll
saying.
take the blame today. I'll take the blame. Hand up. My hand's up. I'll take the blame today.
Your hands aren't anywhere.
Are you a liar?
I guess I am.
I need to see that hand up. All right,
Wow.
fair enough.
That's big of you.
Thank you.
But happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in at exactly 10:07. Hope everyone's had a great week. It's had a great start to your morning. The sun is out finally. About damn time. Tired of the rain, tired of the overcast.
Feels good outside.
Little tired of the cold, though.
That's where you're wrong. Jacob and I had that debate yesterday.
We did.
And we agree that the cold is better. Not like 22, but like 40. We'll take 40 and sunny
Fair enough.
over 90 and sunny. I saw Everett was going at people on Twitter yesterday for getting mad at the 80-degree weather. I'm okay with 80. Once we get a little past that, it's like, all right, it's too hot.
I just need golfing weather. That's all I care about.
It's true.
At the end
This
of the
is
day.
not bad. 42 to 64 is like almost a perfect window of weather.
Yeah.
Way too hot if you're getting up to like 80.
I think like 85 is too much for me. Like it's
100%.
fine for other people. It's great.
100%.
80 is like
75.
75
is great.
Sunny and
75 's
75.
great.
75 is perfect.
75 is great.
Shout out to who's that? Kenny Chesney? Did he write that?
No. I think that was a one-hit wonder.
Sunny and 75. Is
I
that
believe.
Sunny and 75.
No, we gotta look at it.
Nailed
Well,
it.
Now we're going to get copyrighted.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe Nichols.
Oh, it was Joe Nichols.
Joe
That
Nichols.
was Joe Nichols.
Is that a
He's
one-hit
the
wonder?
tequila.
No, Joe Nichols.
Tequila
Joe
song?
Nichols is big.
Okay.
Joe Nichols is big.
I don't
What?
know Joe Nichols.
Tequila song, doesn't
Yes,
he?
yeah.
Tequila, yeah.
Tequila makes your clothes fall off.
I've not had tequila today, so we're good.
The day is young.
But Pearl, you're back.
Yes, I
We didn't
am.
scare you off.
What?
We didn't scare you
Oh,
off.
No, I did have
no,
her
I
muted
don't
for
scare
about the
easy.
first 5 minutes of the show, though, so that was good.
Oh, they didn't hear her sing?
No, they did hear her sing.
Okay.
It was before that.
Okay.
And she tapped me and said, I think I'm muted. I said, I'm sorry.
All right, well, what are we going to get into today? Are we more positive about the Reds today? By the way,
course!
I mean, it's always the day after the day.
Now, look, I suggested yesterday that the Reds could potentially lose the off day, and they're being sued.
Oh!
So they are going to lose the off day. Now, I'm sure we'll get into it in the
I
headlines.
didn't see this. What
Darren Ruff
Oh,
is
yeah.
suing the Reds. He season-ending injury, career-ending injury, running into the unwrapped tarp on the side of the field. He hasn't played baseball since, entered the 60-day IL
no.
after running into the tarp, and Ruff is suing the Reds. So they did, in fact, lose the off day.
Oh, no.
Classic,
I did not see that.
Classic
He
Reds.
suffered permanent and substantial deformities to his knee.
He said no professional player should have to experience those, unforeseen damages when playing the game of baseball on a professional field.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, bad luck for the Gorilla Glue tarp over there on the first base line.
No.
Well, it is classic Reds. You know, that injury happened many years ago, and now they have to deal with it. Like, it's usually the most Reds thing ever, dealing with injuries way after they happen, as opposed to dealing with it right away. That reminds me of, like, when the Bengals did their training camp or one of their practices at Welcome Stadium in Dayton, and A.J. Green got that turf toe, and then he just he blamed the conditions.
I don't
of
think I've
Welcome
ever
Stadium.
been more angry
who?
than that day of A.J. Green getting hurt on that absolutely horrendous turf field out in Dayton.
Now it's one of the nicest turf fields
Right,
out
they
there.
won't go anymore.
But yeah, now they won't go back. Yeah, that was pretty wild. But yeah, Dayton was public enemy number one for that one, which is what it is. But all right, again off the bench, Justin Kinner, Pearl, Jacob Tissett, and Elliot. Pearl does have a last name. I just always forget it.
That's
It'll
okay.
come eventually. What?
Not to give free ads, but Mission
a-
Impossible was great last night.
Oh,
okay.
bum, bum, bum.
I've been thinking about
You
that.
got it.
Yeah.
You got it. You didn't get it yesterday, but you
No.
got it today.
Well, I thought it was the brick
learned.
house.
No.
House.
But no, it was great. It was great.
Dun-dun-dun.
It was great. 3 hours.
Is it 3 hours?
It's like
All right, so we're gonna do this
I'm
now.
gonna
in the
wait
first
for it
segment.
on-
it's 2:45.
Oh man, I
Movies are
got.
too long, man.
No, if it's the finale of the franchise,
Is there an intermission?
no, there's no intermission.
I get antsy. I gotta.
See,
gotta
like
take
this
a
is
break.
this is what happened to moviegoers. They think they're all cool with the Netflix and the HBOs or Max and HBO,
And HBO
Max.
Max.
Sorry. And it's like, you're right, we just got to do 25 minutes while I'm eating like something, and then that's it, and then we're done. Like, 'cause that's what happens. Like, my sister can't watch
It'd be
anything
two
now.
and a half hours.
Huh?
It'd be 2.5 hours.
2:45. What's
said
wrong with
3.
2:45? I'm sure with the credits it's like 2:35.
I'm not watching the credits. I don't
Who's-
care.
who stays for
That's
the
what I'm
credits?
saying. The runtime is longer with the credits.
I will see that movie in theater.
I'll wait till I can stream it.
No, see, this is what Tom Cruise didn't want. This is what Tom.
This
Cruise
is why
then
Tom
they
Cruise
need an
made those people wear
intermission.
those masks.
That's right.
This is why he made those people wear those masks.
This is why he's in Scientology.
That's right. That's right.
He's trying to force his views upon everyone else. Just saying.
Jesus.
Oppenheimer too short, Everett. What exactly did you want to see? What they cut out of that one?
No.
But so it was a good movie. You
Great
go to
movie.
a 3-hour movie, and yet your night was still done well before mine.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for you, it's college baseball, baby.
Do you remember that Wright State game? I think it was Wright State Miami, the one
yeah.
you've complained about for years since
Oh, yeah.
then. Yeah, it was a repeat of that last night. Game started at 7, didn't
Final-
get done till 12:15. There were over 12 pitchers used. It was 22-17 the final.
Jesus.
I think all but 2 innings had a run scored in it. Then they brought better pitchers out, and then it started going scoreless for a while. And I'm like, we better not go into extras. It went into extras. It was BS. Over 30-plus hits, over 40-plus runs. I was not happy, and I got to do it again tonight.
So you were calling. Well, like, does your voice, like, were you a professional or do you get like visibly annoyed, audibly annoyed?
The PA, I do PA.
Okay.
So at the beginning, the third baseman, Austin Mack. By the end of the night, I'm like, Austin Mack.
No, it's over. It's over.
At a certain point, it was just number 35. Like, we got a pitching change. Yeah, I'm not saying the name. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, they were
How
like,
many
hey, we have a
pitching changes
pitching
were there?
change. I'm like, of course we do. What?
How many pitching changes were there?
12.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost every other inning, there was a new pitcher.
Oh my
coming
God.
out. Not good. They could hit the hell out of it. I can't tell if it was good hitting or bad pitching. Probably a little bit of both.
I think bad pitching probably.
But yeah, Rob Manfred needs to find a way to get involved with college baseball to fix that, because that is a disaster.
The throwovers. I remember the throwovers
Yeah.
is my biggest gripe. I love that rule now in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That Xavier guy threw over, 12 times at the game we were at?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But like, there was like no throwouts, there was no like double plays. It was just bad baseball. It was horrendous. It was not good. But Wright State's the
a little
best team in that
miserable.
conference. It was. I didn't do any of their games yet, but
Wright State's good.
Wright
Yep.
State's always good.
yeah.
Wright State looked unbelievable.
UC win theirs. They got the player of the year in that conference. in the
I don't
Big
know
12.
if I don't think has it started yet. Xavier baseball. What did they do yesterday? That I didn't know either. But I know UC baseball. They're going to be in the tournament no matter what. They don't have to win this. It looks like Xavier baseball. If I scroll all the way to the bottom of their horribly designed website, with all due respect,
Dear friend Michael Ackley said UC and Xavier lost.
they lost to Creighton. Yeah, Xavier lost to Creighton 11-8.
Fair enough. All right. Well, this is off the bench here on a Friday. What was the guy's name yesterday that we upset because we were not a very serious
Forget,
sports
but I
talk
do
show?
love him.
Oh, I don't forget.
It was with a V. Vince. Okay, I was gonna say I knew it was a V. But
I hope he's doing better.
Is Vince in the chat today? Did he give
happened?
us another shot?
No,
I hope he
Vince,
waited.
Vince is not in the chat today.
You know, I respect that because there are people that continuously will jump in the chat to say how horrible the show is, how horrible you are, but yet they come back every day.
No, who?
To Vince's credit, he said we suck, and he did not come back. I could respect that.
I can as
I
well.
can respect that. Like,
can
don't
as well.
insult every single day. Just throw out your insults, say you're not happy, and don't come back. You know, if I go through a fast food restaurant that's horrible, I'm not going to go through the drive-through every damn day and just yell at the people and say how horrible they are. I just won't go back to that fast food restaurant. Now, we want you to keep coming through our fast food restaurant, but we're just saying.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, rant over. We're going to get back on track when we come back. More off the bench as we have Elliot's headlines next. All right, and we are back off the bench. Until I remember your last name, it's just going to be Justin, Pearl, Jacob, and Elliot.
That's right.
Here, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on old YouTube. Reds Cubs tonight. Hunter Greene coming back off the IL, making his return, and I'm a little bummed. We're going to get into the Reds in a moment. I was really hoping we were going to be more jacked about this damn series than what we are right now. But
You not excited for it?
No.
The wind's a little out of my sails. Is that
Yes,
the
that's a
phrase?
much better way to phrase that. Yes, Hunter Greene's back. That's great. I mean, you get a win over the Cubs. That's an awesome thing. Don't get me wrong, but again, they're, by the way, closer to the wild card than they are the division at this point. And we've said the division is the best chance of them making the playoffs, but who knows? By the way, the Padres are like tail spinning right now. They've lost like 6 straight. They're fights in the
fight in the locker room. Yeah.
So maybe that was a headline. I don't know. I don't want to steal one. So before I steal any more possible headlines,
Sure.
let's just get to headlines. Elliot's headlines.
Score updates, breaking news, local and national headlines. Whatever's going on in the world of sports, Elliot has you covered. Off the Bench brings you Elliot's headlines.
No, was not a headline. But to each their own. We'll continue on here. 9-2, the Astros, they destroyed the Mariners yesterday. Mariners scored the first 2 runs and then proceeded to not score any runs. 9 unanswered for the Astros. The Nationals, they survive against the Braves in 10 innings, 8-7. The Tigers, they get shut out by the Guardians. 7-0, I believe, the final score in that one. The Brewers, they win 8-5 over the Pirates. The 26-game streak of not scoring more than 4 runs has come to an end in a loss.
What a shame.
Scored 5, and they lost to the Brewers.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Honestly.
The Angels, they win 10-5 over the Athletics to continue their winning streak. They've now gotten to 7 straight games. Ooh. The Rockies, how about this little nugget? The Rockies are off to the worst 50-game start in Major League Baseball history.
That's fun.
After getting 4 games swept by the Phillies. I believe that was at home, unfortunately.
Tough place to play, man.
It's a tough place to play.
It's a tough place to play.
2-0 the final yesterday. The Rockies fall to 8-42. And I was thinking about this. That's not that far away from 0-50.
It's not.
Like, you're a couple. You're a couple bad bounces there from being 0-50.
Because I think you can confidently say at 8-42 that those 8 wins are good bounces.
Oh yeah.
Like, you didn't win those games.
Like, lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
What were their wins?
I know they crushed the Padres once, or I think it was the Padres. They crushed somebody by like 9-2. But I know I have no idea.
Like in baseball,
I have no idea.
It's embarrassing to lose a series to a bad team, but you could lose to a bad team on any given night. But I feel like the Rockies are borderline to the point now to where, no, if you lose to them, even in a single game, it's kind of embarrassing.
Rockies started 1-1.
They did start 1-1.
They also beat the Brewers.
They beat the Diamondbacks 14-12 once.
They have a 2-game winning streak in there.
Beat the Padres 9-3.
This is good wins.
I'm trying to see.
2-1 win over the Braves, 4-3 win over the Giants.
See that? So you beat the Giants, you beat the Braves, you beat the Brewers, you beat the Diamondbacks.
Then they had a banger of a game against the Diamondbacks, 14-12.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And they do average more runs per game than the Pittsburgh Pirates, who the Reds gave up 5 total runs to and dropped 2 and 3. But that's besides the point. Back to positivity. Elliot's headlines.
That's right. So the Blue Jays, they win 7-6 in 11 innings over the Padres to complete the sweep. The Blue Jays look to get a little bit of hot here late into the.
A little bit of hot.
A little bit.
Blue Jays just look to get a little bit of hot.
That's what I'm looking for if you're the Blue Jays. And I say that, and the only reason I'm mentioning it, honestly, I have a future for them to make the playoffs.
Why?
So we're going to need them to make it. I mean, that's what we're going to need.
What kind of press does the AL East have?
What kind of press?
Because why is it still viewed as like this awesome division?
Yeah, I think it's
not.
Well, I think you have 2 really well-known teams, historic rivalry, one of the best comebacks in baseball history.
Yeah.
And that's good enough.
But like the last 2 years, right? I mean, obviously the Orioles were great, and now they're terrible.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays and Red Sox and the Rays are all just right around 500.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of the best divisions in
The
baseball.
Reds would be competing for second place in that division right now.
But you could, well, I mean, if the Reds have to play
If the Reds
those
were
teams,
in that division, they would. No, I guess we didn't really have many wins over divisional teams anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if the Reds were playing those teams, they certainly would not be where they're at right now.
Well, if we played the Blue Jays or the Orioles more, we'd score 24 runs once every 3 games.
It's true. That's
Touchdowns.
That's right.
Yankees shut out the Rangers 1-0. Heading over to the NBA, the Thunder Thunder take a 2-0 series lead, a 118-103 win over the Timberwolves. SGA, 38 points, 13 of 15 at the free throw line.
Nauseating to watch.
Terrible.
I mean, it's
Congratulate.
really
You know
bad.
what? I want to be the first to say congratulations to the Thunder on winning the championship. I'd like to be the first to say that.
I think that these are the two worst foul baiters we've seen since like prime James Harden in Brunson and SGA.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's
Brunson,
really bad.
The Brunson video at the end where he was
Taking Neesmith's hand and hitting himself in the face,
Yeah,
and then
it's
complaining about it.
That's tough.
The Thunder have Hembo put this out, debating whether this might be one of the greatest
Best teams
of all time, as wild as it sounds. He said the Thunder have outscored their opponent by 1,238 points, the greatest margin through 94 games in NBA history. The previous high was all the way back in 1970-71 when the Bucks had outscored their opponents 95 games into the season by 1,100.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Great. I mean, they're really, really good, and they're
Pretty good.
deep, and they're young, and they have more assets than anyone in the league.
That's right.
So I don't know where they're going.
That's right. Hopefully back to Seattle. NHL, the Panthers, they lead 2-0 over the Hurricanes with a 5-0 win last night.
Panthers are the first team in NHL history to have 4 road wins by 4 or more goals in a single postseason. So they've just been absolutely dominant.
Yeah, how about that?
Going back to back.
College football, we mentioned this yesterday, but why not? The 12-team college football playoff, they will move to straight seeding model this fall, rewarding the selection committee's top 4 teams.
Clap, Pearl.
I believe this will be called the Notre Dame rule.
I have more so
Notre
Ohio
Dame
State,
rule?
Texas, Penn State.
Okay.
Texas and Penn State would have been with the byes last year instead of Boise and Arizona. So.
Last season, the 4 highest-ranked conference champions earned the top 4 seeds, regardless of where they are ranked. Now, independent Notre Dame eligible to earn a first-round bye if the Irish are top 4.
Certainly takes a lot of sting out of them having to join a conference.
I saw Jimmy was all excited about that. However, the impact of the playoff is still to the point where teams don't want to play them.
Correct.
So, I mean, he's not out of the woods yet.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But look, all I know is that is a change to the college football postseason
That's right.
format. The last 2 times the college football postseason format was changed, Ohio State won the trophy. So,
And
repeat.
change the format this year. And
Be
it
a good
sounds
first
like
year to be a fan.
It would be.
I forgot who reported it yesterday, but it sounds like the expansion could happen next year as
Yep.
well. So obviously it's just straight seeding for this upcoming 12-team playoff,
So
and then next year
three-peat.
14. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wow.
14
What a
to
time to be
16 team
alive.
playoff. Yeah. it's a good thing you just jumped on
IO.
board.
That's right.
Oh, he did it. He said IO.
That's good.
That was awesome.
That's the good stuff, man.
Those are your headlines.
There you go. Anything else?
Not that I can think of. Did we miss something?
I don't think so.
I think that's it.
Oh, today is the final episode of Around the Horn. I know that's not really a headline, but I think everyone our age range that watches sports, that was on when you came home from school.
Oh, yeah.
No one knows the point system.
He said he was going to, Tony Reale, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He said he was going to unveil that today.
Wow. What a big news that would be.
And he's been going on kind of like a media circus this past few weeks.
He needs a new
Apparently,
job.
it hasn't been going like it wasn't like a smooth exit for
Oh,
that show.
okay.
He said there's not been a lot of communication with ESPN and himself.
Okay.
So probably I don't know, maybe a little drama, maybe
That's
a little
a shame.
drama.
Where did Tony Reale start at ESPN?
Where did he start?
First on-air role.
No idea.
He was the stat boy for PTI.
Really?
The last segment of Wilbon and Kornheiser, they'd go to Reale and he'd tell them what they got wrong.
How about that?
And then he got Around the Horn. I loved Around the Horn. I was trying to figure out what was on Woody Page's whiteboard and how the points would be awarded. I love that show.
I think that show stunk, but it is a classic show.
fun.
I liked
man.
it more back
They
in the
just
day.
yelled at each other.
Yeah, but I like that, and then Sports Nation back when you had Colin Cowherd and Michelle
man.
Beadle.
There
And
was
I think it was
nothing better
Marcellus
than
Wiley,
Sports
but with
Nation.
those three, I was a big fan of the show when those three. But Colin was good in that role. Him and
Yeah.
Michelle Beadle were good with that. But yeah,
And then
that was
Kellerman
another
took
one.
over.
Yeah,
And
Kellerman took over,
and it went away.
But yeah, the point system. I'm like that show. Around the Horn has always been basically like the sports version of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Like it just make up point system.
I wonder if they just give Stephen A. a 5th hour.
I mean,
I think you have to.
I mean, they probably will. You have to
think you have
justify
to.
that $80 million somehow.
I mean, there's not a lot of sports entities out there that can actually say that they have the president of the United States
He is the future president of the United
as a
States.
future president of the United States as an employee. So you never know.
Hilarious.
You ended headlines a minute ago, and I think that's it.
we're done.
I think that's it. Pearl, what's on your mind? Anything else to add to headlines?
No. I mean, I don't know if we're talking about anything when we get into the Reds, but
We got the Reds coming up.
yeah. I mean, like I got some, but I'll just wait for the Reds.
Sounds good. Sounds like she wants to get into the Reds. You want to get into the Reds?
I hate talking about it, but let's do it.
Talking about the Reds it's a thorn in my side. Is what it is.
Brutal? Okay. Oh, real quick, the last thing here. Ohio State, Texas, big noon kickoff. Everyone knows I hate the big noon kickoff.
Yes.
But the big noon kickoff. So Ohio State's trying to get out of not the game on Fox, but trying to move the game to the next day so they can play it at night. Texas has denied their request, and now people are mad at Texas. And I'm here to tell you, I want the game at night more than anybody. Me and you both. Texas shouldn't agree to move it.
No.
Texas did the right thing. And I see a lot of people, I'm surprised you agree. Texas, people are ripping Texas, saying that they're afraid of Ohio State. I promise you the reason that they're doing this is not because they're afraid of Ohio State. It's because they see blood in the water. Ohio State has so many new offensive linemen. They have a new quarterback. They have new people on defense. And they don't have a bunch of cupcake games. They're not beating up on MAC schools for the first month of the season preparing for Texas. It's just baptism by fire. So Texas, they're very experienced. They bring a lot of NFL talent back. I don't blame them whatsoever, but they're not afraid of Ohio State. And if the roles were reversed, I'd be mad if Ohio State agreed to move it to under the lights if Texas was supposed to play it at noon. So I have no problem with Texas turning it down. And no, Bucknuts and 11 Warriors and all the other Buckeye blogger stuff out there, I do not think that Texas did anything wrong. Ohio State did everything wrong by agreeing to sign the contract for the big noon kickoff anyway. So.
No, I'm with you on that one. I mean, the complaint Ohio State fans have had this whole time is we're going to have to go to Texas and play at night, so why should we have to play here in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Well, you're now asking to play a standalone primetime Sunday night game at Ohio State and then turn around and play the standard Saturday game, though it will probably be at night in Texas. At Texas, that's not fair either. So, yeah, I think you're at the mercy of the network you signed the contract with, and it's a shame. And I'm going to continue to be mad at Fox for making the decision to put that game at 12 because they could have made it at 7. They could have made that game at night and had no skin off their back, but they chose to make it at noon because that's the slot that they've chosen as their primetime slot because they don't think they can compete with ESPN if they have competitive games. And this is where we're at, where college football fans are the ones that lose, which sadly seems to be the reoccurring theme of college sports these days is it's just the fans that end up losing.
So in a non-conference game, is the home team the one that designates the conference game, if that makes sense? So Ohio State's at home, so it's a Big Ten game, so Fox gets dibs on it. So next year, if it's at Texas, it's an SEC game, so ESPN would, ABC, whatever, would get – so that's how that works, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, there's no chance at Texas it's a big noon kickoff next year either. All right, let's switch gears back to the Cincinnati Reds. Hunter Greene back off the IL. Game 1 tonight between the Reds and the Cubs. Reds dropping 2-3 against the Pirates after sweeping the Guardians, having a 5-game win streak snapped, all momentum coming to a complete halt, and now they try to rebuild momentum starting tonight with Hunter Greene's return. We'll talk about the Reds-Cubs when we return. More off the bench next. All right, and we are back off the bench. Justin, Pearl, Jacob, and Elliot back with you here on a Friday. Reds, Cubs tonight. Not as jacked about it as what I really, really wanted to be. But Hunter Greene's back, and that's a good thing. At the end of the day, that is still a good thing. And we'll see if the Reds can produce some runs and give him a little run support tonight. Also, hope that because he's been off for a few weeks, I hope that he doesn't get off to a rusty start against the Chicago Cubs. It wasn't that big of an absence. I wouldn't expect a rusty start, do you?
2 starts? Missed 2 starts?
2, yeah.
Yeah,
2 bad Chase Petty villains.
That's right. We're cheering for regular season awards at this point.
Yeah.
That's what we got to look forward to.
We got 2 chances, probably.
Hunter Greene, if he stays healthy the rest of the way, he's going to be in contention for that Cy Young, and that's what I want. If this season ends in a Hunter Greene Cy Young and nothing else, you know what? I'll take it.
What's the line for excitement? Because I don't want to say number 1, like he has to win it.
Excitement for what?
Like he finishes top 5.
I would
and
say
we're really
I would
stoked.
say he finishes top 5.
Yeah, I think that's a good win for
agree.
Reds fans for sure.
So anyways, you have to try and find a way to get a win in game one, which they from time to time do. And game one is usually the time that they do decide to kind of erupt for a lot of runs. My problem is they're going to probably have a good game tonight. They're probably going to put up a lot of runs tonight. They're going to get everybody excited. And then I'm more curious about games 2 and 3. Yep. How do you follow it up? I mean, this team has really struggled in just being able to produce multi-big run games in a series, which has been one reason why we've talked about the fact that statistically they don't make any sense. If you were just a box score watcher just going to look at the stats, you're like, man, the Reds are having a hell of an offensive season. And, man, with that pitching staff, this team has to be one of the best teams in baseball. That's not the case. It's smoke and mirrors with the way the stats are kind of representing who this team is. And a lot of it is because they have these big games where they erupt for a ton of runs, including that 24-run performance against the Orioles, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So we'll see what kind of performance they have tonight. Pearl, I know you said there was something you wanted to jump into when it came to tonight's game.
Let's see. Oh, I was just highlighting something. This isn't necessarily what we're in right now, but just Louder. Setback yesterday.
Yes.
Louder had a setback on his second pitch of the second inning. After just 12 pitches, he grabbed his abdomen, I believe.
Yep, not the arm. So that's a good thing.
At least not the arm, but still not fantastic. And I was just going to highlight Sal Stewart in Chattanooga. He, he matched a personal best with 4 hits and Southern League leading average 344. And he has been batting 500 in the past week. So,
the better you play in the minors, the more they keep you down. They don't like to call you. They don't like to call you up.
6 RBIs, homer, 3 doubles, batting 500, 15 for 30 in Chattanooga. So, that's promising.
Hopefully, we can get him on the move for someone that can help this major league team.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. Let's trade him away immediately.
That's the Reds thing.
Rhett Louder. As for what's going on in the minor leagues, it's. For me, and it's just my personal opinion.
Elliot, are you a Lookouts fan?
No, I'm not.
Elliot, are you a Bats fan?
I'm not.
Are you a Reds fan?
Yes, I am.
That's what you are.
I want Rhett Louder to be up here immediately just because I think he's a really good pitcher. That stinks. As for Sal Stewart, if he's not going to contribute to the Reds this year, the stats and the numbers I see with all these minor leaguers, it just goes into a vault in my brain, and I'll lock that key.
It's still good to see, though.
It's good to see, but
let him know, Pearl. Let him know. Don't let him.
It's a bad road for you to go down, Pearl.
Yeah, let him know.
It's still good to see.
It's good.
They're in our organization. You want to see good happening.
Sure.
It just couldn't matter less in terms of how much it's helped this team win
better
games.
than him absolutely crapping the bucket.
I would argue that if he were to play horribly in the minor leagues for a franchise that has made the playoffs 4 times in 30 seasons, has I think 8 winning seasons, and those winning seasons are by a game or two. In 30 years, they need to be focused on the talent on the major league roster. It's great. I mean, it's fine. It's like that, and this is just my personal opinion. Everybody else can fan how they want to fan. I'm not concerned about what goes on down in the minor leagues. I
think we should always be concerned about the farm system. I mean, yeah, definitely be concerned about the major league team, but definitely be concerned about the farm system, whether it's single, double, triple.
Being concerned about
that is your organization.
Being concerned about the farm system over the last 30 years has gotten us
nothing.
I know, but still, it's still good to see highlights of people, and it's good to see them doing good.
It's fun if the major league team's not winning games to see people perform in the minors. If the major league team's good, you don't care about the minors.
But to Pearl's point, though, when we know how the front office operates, if this was if this was a Yankees show and Pearl's highlighting one of the prospects coming up through the Yankee system, I would expect that because, well, who cares? The Yankees, if they need talent, they're just going to go buy it. They're going to go get a free agent.
Well, the Yankees highlight their prospects in terms of who are we going to trade for Paul Skeens.
So, yes, no doubt. But with this, and as far as Sal Stewart, does it have any impact on this team this season? We want that immediate impact.
Yeah.
No immediate impact now. But unfortunately, if we're talking about holes on this roster, the importance of guys performing well in the minors obviously matters. I just wish it mattered from the point of what we just mentioned. Okay, Sal Stewart's doing great in the minors. Not that I want to trade every good prospect away that the Reds have, but maybe it does have an immediate impact on this team. Maybe they do decide to go make a trade to go get Luis Robert or Robert, whatever the hell his name is at this point.
I think he's hitting like 160, so he'd fit in.
Yeah, they're not trading Sal Stewart. Sal Stewart's a very good player. It's good to see him play well. It's just when I go to Great American Ballpark and in between innings they got segments like down on the farm. Let's take a look at what's going on down in the minor leagues. While we're trailing today, you guys all paid tickets 5-0. Like it rubs me the wrong way.
You weren't excited
But
hearing
to each
about
their
LA?
own.
You weren't excited about LA and Hunter Greene and hearing about them
Completely
coming
different.
up?
That's
Okay.
completely different. That was during a rebuild, which, by the way, we're still in. And that is who was supposed to be the savior of the team.
This is something we've kind of talked about a lot on this show, kind of danced around and said directly a few times. If this core doesn't work and this front office doesn't put anything around this core,
Then it's
how do we ever believe in a core of prospects ever again?
Yep.
Because
That's
there won't be
true.
one that's even close to Ellie, McLean, what Noelvi Marte was coming up. He was a top 15 prospect in baseball. Like, we had all these guys that were the best we're ever going to have coming up in Cincinnati. And if that doesn't translate to wins, I'll never see a list of 5, 6, 7 top 100 prospects and think, okay, in 3 years, this will mean the Reds are going to be a playoff team and a World Series contender, because they won't be the same level as these guys we're seeing now. So I think that's why, even though we were really excited about this core when they were coming up, it's probably the most excited I've ever been about prospects. And then you could say, well, it's worked and you have some really good players. Well, we haven't done anything, so we haven't made the playoffs. So.
I just want the conversation to switch to the Reds. Like
Yeah.
that's not today, but like in general.
No, I agree.
Like it's the Reds. We're Reds fans. This is a Reds show. We're talking about the major league team. This city has talked about the minor league squads for
It feels
5,
like forever,
10,
yeah.
15, 20, 30 years, And eventually I'd like that conversation to change. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, is it great? South Stewart's doing great? Sure. It's fantastic. Let's throw him a party.
That was
but
that
it's,
point.
It's
Okay.
it's not like at the end of the day that doesn't help me. That doesn't help the Reds. The Reds continue to lose series to very bad opponents, and they're going to have to try to dig themselves out of it. The guys down in the minor leagues can't help you. Nick Kroll, most likely not going to make a move. He's not going to help you. This current group of guys has to figure something out. They have to play well, and they have to at least attempt to make a postseason one of these years. I don't know when that's going to happen, but they have to.
And I remember last year on the trade deadline, can't move this prospect, can't move that prospect. I said the only thing about prospects that drives me nuts with the Reds is it's always the future, the future, the future. When is the future now? Like, what's the when you look at the timeline for what the future is, there has to be some point on that timeline that you circle and say, okay, this is the year we expect to be competitive. We thought last year was, we thought this year was.
Was that not 2025, like kind of from the start?
Technically, yeah.
Like, I feel like even in 2023 when they were good, it was like, okay, this is ahead of schedule. We're shooting for 2025. It always felt like this was the year that the timeline was supposed to be lined up for.
Yep.
Bally Sports, baby. Messed it all up.
Bally Sports and that dang Snoop Dogg concert
Yes.
cost us an outfielder.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the sushi bars, all the after,
New
the
Airstream. Have you checked out the new Airstream bar?
No, I have not.
I haven't either.
Oh.
Fireworks
that?
aren't cheap, by the way.
It's second level, right when you're walking to the box.
You don't get. Listen, if
It's
you
not
go
for
to
the common man.
if you go to a Reds game on a weekday, you're not venturing up past the first level. So
Yeah, like you put these, like my favorite are the bars that have the stools and the seats to sit down. It's like, oh, you want us to sit here and just drink the entire game?
yeah.
yeah.
All 2 hours of it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Fireworks are expensive too, by the way.
They are.
How many free agents could you buy if you took every Firework Friday, just eliminated
That's
it?
right.
The money you save.
Well,
I'm
now
just
there's
saying.
less because the Reds are being sued. So
There you go. Rough, by the way.
It all
Less-
comes back to that. But
less
yeah,
money to go around.
as for the Reds Cubs this weekend, excitement level, I mean, very little for me personally.
Does
I'm
the
ex-
pitching matchups move you at all? The fact that it's Green, Abbott, Lodolo, like, gives us a chance.
It's given us a chance all year to not win. So I love them. I'm cheering for them. I want them to win. But as we just saw this week, how many times are we gonna do this song and dance? How many times?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it all year long. I'm just not gonna do it.
You won't do it for like a little longer?
No, we're done. We're done with the dance.
Okay.
I canceled the season last week,
You
and I
did.
was right. I mean, I don't want to say I was
You
right,
were.
but I was right.
You were.
So they're not very good.
Where Elliott
and
was right.
The Reds are due for a 14-run game, as Kinner said, within the next 3 days or so.
It
So
could
I'm
be
sure
today.
they'll get that.
Oh, almost certainly not. They don't give Hunter that run support.
No, I know.
Gotta wait for
Definitely
Brady
not.
Singer in his 5 era.
Yeah.
I'm looking for pitching performances. I'm looking for Ellie De La Cruz to be better. I'm looking
Right.
for individual performances less.
I'm looking for Will
less so
Benson in the
team
lineup.
performance.
I'm looking for Will Benson to be put back in the lineup.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm wanting for
Yeah, for real.
tonight. So,
Even if he doesn't, I mean, they have to figure out a way to hit with the guys that they've got anyway. It's just,
I don't want to get back in the Francona thing because we exhausted that yesterday, but like, why though? Why no Will Benson in the lineup back-to-back days when you can't hit the ball and that's your hottest hitter and you just pull the rug out from it?
NL Player of the Week. Like, why are you not gonna write it out?
Makes no sense. It literally makes zero sense.
If a player's hot, put him in the lineup.
We have a lot of really good bats on this team, so it's hard to figure out how to piecemeal them all in when everyone's hitting 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Not really. This is like what we got. Write it out.
That's right. That's why Tyler Stevenson in his 165 is hitting over Trevino. Shout out Kenner.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense why they do it, and Terry Francona has to have a reason, and whatever that reason is, I hope he one day explains it to us.
There's no potion, dude. Yeah, there's no potion for this or whatever it was.
You must not know the game, Justin.
For a guy that seems to not really fall on that analytic, on that analytic side of the fence, he sure seems to be using it a decent amount for when it favors his opinion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason, and that's why everybody's upset with him.
But Espinal's one of our best hitters.
Espinal is our best hitter.
One of our best hitters.
I think he's hitting 120 over his last 7. But nonetheless,
49 WRC plus against righties.
The Reds, as for, is this a must-win? I saw that debate on Twitter. Is this a must-win? I don't know. Every series is a must-win because at this point, like you can't mess around. They're not a very good team at home. They're not very good against the division. They're just meh. They're meh. And I thought there would be significant improvement this year. There's not. Temper your expectations with this ball club because they're not a team that's winning 90 games. They're not a ball club that's winning 85 games. They're just here. Until something drastically changes, this is what we've got to work with. And for a Cubs series where I know Cubs fans are going to overtake that ballpark 35,000 strong this weekend, it's going to be a tough watch. It's going to be tough. The Cubs are good. I mean, the Cubs are flat out unbelievable. Their pitching staff has not been great. They've been injured. They've been giving up a lot of runs. Their offense has been the third best offense in baseball. So,
should be fun.
Fair enough. Again, the Reds 25-26, 5.5 back in the division, but the Brewers have surpassed them in the division standings.
Because they could win
well.
against the Pirates.
So that's painful. Yeah, both teams, Brewers and Reds, are 25-26. Are the Cardinals? I mean, like they're starting to get a lot of love nationally right now. I was watching, ESPN, everything else, talk about how the Cardinals, obviously, I mean, their defense is vastly improved. That's one of the biggest things that has them kind of turned around. Are the Cardinals for real? We keep saying the Cubs are the only team that the Reds have to worry about, but when you have 3 teams ahead of you in the standings, I have a hard time believing it's just the Cubs that the Reds need to worry about, especially when you split with the Cardinals and you had a chance to win that series at home.
I think the Cardinals are as for real as the Cardinals always are. I mean, they're kind of, the Steelers of the MLB. Yeah. They're going to go somewhere around 500, probably fight for the playoffs down the stretch, maybe win 10 in a row in the last month to sneak in. They're going to always be in that mix. Yeah, I think they'll be hanging around, probably right where the Reds are all year long, and I still stand by, the take we had at the beginning of the season that there's only one NL Central team making this playoffs. So I guess if you're looking up at 3 teams, then there's 3 teams you should worry about, and we know the Reds don't beat any of them, so that's an extra hurdle added into that whole thing. Usually you can look at those teams ahead of you and say, well, we play them a bunch. We can pick up some games. Reds don't beat the Brewers or the Cardinals or the Pirates, so that's fun. They do beat the Cubs.
As for the Cardinals, do we have to worry about them? I mean, they're just. I mean, I always give their comp to be the Steelers. Yeah. That's who they are.
Yeah.
They're a team that just wins.
They won't die. They're a cockroach.
And no matter how ugly they look, no matter what talent they have out there, no matter who's their quarterback, who's their starting short, literally doesn't matter. They're going to find a way to win. I remember the year, I think it was 2021, and the Cardinals won. I want to say 20 out of their last 30 or something outrageous to make the playoffs. It's just what they do. I've looked at their stats, and they look. I mean, a lot of their players are playing respectfully. They're playing, out of a hat right now, and I don't think that'll continue. Water's going to find its level, and the Cardinals will drop back down, probably finish 3rd in this division. I think the Brewers still finish 2nd in the division, so I think that's right around where you are. You're still only 50 games in, a lot of baseball left, and I imagine the Cardinals, their true identity will be revealed in the next few months.
All right, we'll step away for a few moments. We'll wrap up our Reds conversation on the other side, and then we have a couple other things lined up for you here as we wrap up the show this week. Here on a Friday, more Off the Bench next. All right, and we are back off the bench. Justin, Pearl, Jacob, and Elliot with you here on a Friday. We talked about the Reds, obviously 5.5 back in the NL Central as we currently sit here right now. The Cubs 10 games above 500 at this point. They're sitting atop the Central. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and this is the first time we get a chance to see the Cubs against the Reds coming up this season. Regardless of how that Pirates series went, if we have to pull a positive out of this, it is the fact that of all the times to get Hunter Greene back off the IL, this is the time to do it. I will say, and this isn't a shot at Hunter Greene, and did you notice that he was out? Like, I think the one thing, so if people say we're too negative, I want to lean into the positive here. Never saying we don't need Hunter Greene. That's definitely not what I'm saying here. But did we even notice his absence? I've got to praise this pitching staff because I think that's how – oh, you said yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Chase Petty's start was horrendous, and then the second one, you didn't have enough confidence in Chase Petty to start him, and you had to use your bullpen for the whole game.
But that's what I mean. They were able to overcome
But I think that resulted in losses down the line, having to use the full bullpen.
That's true. But I was just saying, for Chase Petty starts anyway, it's not like if Greene would have started. Like, we don't give Greene a lot of run support anyway, so it's not like it would have been for sure flipped.
Did they win one of those Petty ones that went south?
No.
So they
Chase
did.
Petty he has a 22 ERA in his start in this Greene absence. He pitched 3 innings, allowed 4 earned runs.
Well, like those games alone, they wouldn't have been lock wins because we don't really give Greene a lot of run support anyway.
No doubt.
But long term, he has a point.
But he missed 2 starts. So you had the one Petty start.
And then the bullpen game.
Which
we won, but I think that resulted in losses.
Yeah.
But you only gave up 5 runs total in that Pirates series.
I'm more on Justin's side here just because I don't think
and this isn't saying we don't need Hunter Greene. I'm just saying, like, of all the fortunate things that could have happened, his absence wasn't debilitating to this team. It was just the inconsistent offense that keeps creeping its head inside.
Correct. The starting pitching staff, for whatever negative I say on this show, the starting pitching staff is unbelievable. Outside of Chase Petty, unbelievable. I mean, they're every single one of them is doing their job this season. Even Brady Singer, who has by far the worst ERA, he's still getting innings. Nick Martinez, a guy that we probably didn't believe in pretty early on,
Looks great.
Been phenomenal. He's been incredible his last 5 performances. So
look at who they've played.
True. I think that if you take away a starting pitcher here in this rotation, you're going to have the ability to fight through it, and that is a positive. Hunter Greene is a generational superstar. Of course, when he's not there, we notice it, but we have the ability to not have him play every single week. Maybe he misses a start. Maybe he misses 2 starts. And the Reds are going to be able to, quote-unquote, survive. They're still not going to be able to score runs, and that doesn't change anything. But as for what the team ERA will be, it's probably going to be right around the same as when he leaves. But before or after he leaves, it'll probably be the same for whatever injury or whatever it may be. So that you're right. I mean, that is a good thing. That is a positive. The issue right now just isn't starting pitching or bullpen. It's we know what it is. So that's where I start to get more and more frustrated because, ironically, like the one thing that we knew was a problem coming into this season, we now still know that that's a problem, and there was no real addressing it. But we'll see. I mean, if Hunter Greene can give a spark, maybe he goes 7 innings shutout tonight, and the Reds are able to escape with a 1-0 win. That's what you're going to get out of a Cy Young caliber pitcher, opposed to, no disrespect, Chase Petty. Right. So there's a difference. And
to be fair, yes, when you really break it down to, okay, tonight Hunter Greene's supposed to be on the mound, and he's not on the mound, and you see you have to go through 3-4 bullpen guys to get a complete game and to get the win. Yes, I guess you notice it from that perspective. I just mean, I don't think there's a game that we lost because he wasn't on the mound. I mean, he could have pitched the night that Chase Petty did, pitched lights out, probably still lose. I mean, most likely
that's
just
the offense got shut out. Like, we would have allowed less than 6 runs if Hunter Greene started that game. So then you have a chance to, maybe you're attacking it at the plate differently if you're down 1-0 instead of 6-0 in the 9th. So I don't mean the offense is horrific. So it's going to be horrific no matter who's out there. If we can get that 6 runs down to 1 or 2, it gives them at least a fighting chance.
But getting him back for this Cubs series, obviously it's ideal because Chase Petty was scheduled for tonight, or at least up next in the rotation for that. I mean, what if Hunter Greene wasn't available tonight? What direction do you think Francona would have gone?
He would go opener.
Opener again.
I mean, you have to. And then if Suter's able to go 3, then maybe you don't see Chase Petty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would have been – I'm glad we don't have to worry about that, though. So, the rotation – so, Hunter Greene tonight, you said –
Abbott Lodolo.
Not bad. Not bad.
Hunter Greene versus Boyd, Abbott versus Ray, Lodolo versus Brown.
Who's pitching? Hunter Greene, obviously, number one, but, like, Nick Martinez might be throwing the best
Abbott.
outside. You're still
Abbott.
going with Abbott?
Abbott has a 1.8 ERA through the whole season at this point. I'm not an Abbott guy.
Last year, I was higher on him than you
You're
were.
not an Abbott guy.
I'm starting to inch that way. His underlying metrics are terrible.
The issue with, in fact, the only time he's given up more than one earned run is at that tough place to play in Colorado.
That's right.
Which does not count
Elevation,
for starting pitching.
It happens.
But yeah, Andrew Abbott. My only fear with Andrew Abbott is that he's not going to be able to make it throughout the whole
Correct.
season. And
He hits that 100-inning wall every year
yeah.
after looking like a Cy Young favorite. So he's one of those guys I would love to move a 1.8 ERA to get us one of those bats when we have amazing pitching.
Are you more willing to move, and I don't want to go back to the prospect conversation, Andrew Abbott, who's a proven commodity right now that's helping you win games right now, or a prospect? Who would you rather move?
I would move Andrew Abbott in a second. I would move Lodolo, too.
I would not.
One or the other, but I would move either one of those starting pitchers.
But what's your reason? I'm not saying, but what's your
I think
reason?
Lauder, Burns are both better than those two, and they're coming pretty soon. I have a lot of faith in the prospects coming out. When Lauder gets healthy, we saw what he did last year. So I think we have an excess of starting pitching. You just said when Hunter Greene was out, we didn't miss him, so we certainly wouldn't miss Lodolo or Abbott, and we could use the bat.
I would miss what Andrew Abbott's given the Reds. I think Andrew Abbott's been one of the best
agree with
pitchers
Elliot.
on the Reds, and Nick Lodolo, you could talk me into that one.
You like Abbott more than Lodolo?
I think he's been better than Lodolo. Yeah,
This year.
I think as a career whole, I think he's given.
I think he's been more consistent.
He's been more consistent.
He's been more consistent, and he's been more healthy.
They both have the same issue, which is they can't finish seasons. So,
Yeah.
if it's between what Nick Lodolo's given me so far and what Andrew Abbott's given me so far, I'll take Andrew Abbott. As of right now, I mean, if they're both,
I'll bet on the ceiling rather than the floor with a 20-year-old pitcher.
Yeah, it's fair. I just think if you're factoring in injuries, which I do, I'm going to take the guy who's been pretty much lights out every single start, like Andrew Abbott, opposed to Nick Lodolo.
Doesn't he have the same injury concerns as Lodolo?
I think Nick Lodolo, and again, I could be wrong on this. I know what Andrew Abbott's injury is going to be every single year. It's just fatigue, it's arm exhaustion. So when that happens, I know when to expect it. We'll see him fight until July and maybe August, and right around then is when Andrew Abbott goes away. Nick Lodolo, it could be anything. He had a blister last year, missed pretty much
blister.
and missed pretty much the entire season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just my take on it. I wouldn't want to trade any of them right now at this very second, given the fact that they're the only two things, or one of the few things on this team that are good. But they're going to have to trade somebody. Chase Petty, they're going to have to trade anybody down in the minor leagues.
And
Because
I guess that's my question. You want to trade Chase Petty instead? Great. What does that get you? Another Austin Hayes? Another Gavin Lux? Like, you have to move someone you don't want to move to get someone that's worth a damn.
Yeah. And by the way, while we're on Lodolo, because finishing season's been the big problem there. Let's say he stays healthy the rest of the season, but it's this Lodolo that we get for the rest of the season, just the ups and the downs, and he's just an okay pitcher right now, right? Like, what's your evaluation of Nick Lodolo? The expectations for him, I want to say he's kind of been disappointing, but he's actually been solid. He's been solid, but when you take the fact that the expectations, I mean, big picture, when you had Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo coming up through the system, that was supposed to be your 1-2 punch. That was supposed to be the future of your rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter Greene obviously is that. Lodolo has not necessarily lived up to it. And you look at how good Rhett Lauder has been in a small sample size when he's healthy. Obviously, Burns coming up quickly through the system. I mean, he's just he's striking everyone out that steps in his path, no matter what level he's pitching at
He
right
needs
now.
to stop pitching in AA.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
You're just risking an injury for a guy that could help this team.
And it's just one of those where there's going to be guys coming up through the system that are probably surpassing. Andrew Abbott potentially has surpassed Nick Lodolo. Burns is going to surpass Nick Lodolo. Rhett Lauder is going to surpass Nick Lodolo. Hell, Nick Martinez, 34 years old, bullpen guy, has surpassed Nick Lodolo. Nick Lodolo is not bad. That speaks to the depth of this pitching through the system and what they have now. But who is Nick Lodolo? What's your vision for him on this team?
As a guy who's not the biggest Nick Lodolo fan in the world, he's pitched as well as you could possibly pitch this year. He has a 3.2 ERA, and he's had 2 bad games. And even those bad games, I would argue, aren't the worst. I mean, he gave up 6 earned runs to the Nationals, still made it 5 1/3 innings, still got to the 6th inning. The other game was 4 runs against the Mariners, 4 2/3 innings in that game.
I feel like he's striking guys out this year at a much higher level too.
Outside of that, like, he's been as solid as
So you guys so you guys are fine with him then?
I think he's been great this year.
Okay.
I think he's been our number 2 pitcher this year.
My issue with Nick Lodolo, and this goes with Andrew Abbott, it goes with everybody. It's never once been what I think they can be if they're healthy.
Correct. It's what they are currently.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the health. If Nick Lodolo is going to be healthy a whole year, I love Nick Lodolo. I love him. I think he's the clear number 2 on this team behind Hunter, and we're in a great spot. If he gets hurt, the value that he has when he's here, it lessens. It diminishes. So that's what we're talking about. And he hasn't been hurt yet.
There's too many ifs, though, because he's just...
I agree.
There's too many ifs, and, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to gamble with that. So you have a good point with all the pitchers coming up. I'm like...
Well, and then I think and it goes back to what the expectations were for him. Like, I'm comparing him to Hunter Greene. So I'm sitting here saying Andrew Abbott just looks lights out because I didn't have expectations of Andrew Abbott being Hunter Greene. So I'm very impressed with Andrew. I look at Lodolo, and I'm like, I'm waiting to see that Hunter Greene stuff, and maybe that's just not a fair expectation for him.
I think that's been there this year. I think Nick Lodolo's been good. Going back and forth between Abbott and Lodolo. Abbott doesn't pitch far into games. He doesn't pitch far into the season.
Yep.
So there's a cap on what Andrew Abbott is, and that's what Jacob was saying when he's betting on the ceiling. Nick Lodolo, ceiling-wise, has some of the best stuff in baseball. He has that strikeout rate when he's on it. And this year, he's been able to get outs at a pretty decent clip. Again, do I believe Nick Lodolo can be one of the best pitchers in the National League? 100%, yes, I do. But until I see that, I'm still going to have that hesitation because I'm always afraid of an injury, So we'll see what happens going forward. But I think Nick Lodolo is very, very good. I think any team, I would say out of the 30 teams, 29 of them would be fighting for Nick Lodolo.
No doubt.
Maybe 28 if you throw away the Rockies. That's it. Like everybody else is going to be fighting for a pitcher like.
Well, the Pirates
Nick
would have to
Lodolo.
pay him.
Correct. Okay, so 27.
27.
Maybe we trade Lodolo for Skeens.
That'd be
Hey.
awesome.
That seems fair.
Look,
I think,
and maybe I'm being too.
if you take
unfair
the
then,
untouchable
yeah.
guys out, right? Because obviously Ellie, Hunter Greene, I would even probably still push Matt McClain over there in terms of no one's going to talk about trading him, right?
Yeah.
Nick Lodolo is the player on this roster you can get by far the most for.
For sure.
By a
sure.
significant margin, I think, out of everyone else we have on this roster, including the top prospects, unless you wanted to go Chase Burns, who I would put in that untouchable category. So
Lodolo is someone you can definitely lose.
right,
Like,
and
we're not-
I think it goes back to the point you were making kind of inadvertently about losing Hunter Greene and not losing that production. If we can lose Hunter Greene and be fine pitching wise,
You lose any of
then
those
why
guys.
can't we lose the 2 or the 3
Yeah.
and be fine pitching wise? So look, it's a tough pill to swallow, and I feel like it's the conversation we have in football season a lot with the Bengals when we're asking them at the deadline to use to move stuff, and you have to give up something you don't want to give up in order to get something you want. You can't move a bunch of prospects that you don't like. We're talking about last year. You want to trade Jermaine Burton for an All-Pro safety. It's like that's not going to happen. You have to give up something you don't want to give up, and it's going to be painful. And we'll see what happens. But, I mean, I think if the Reds ever want to make some kind of move, it's not going to be them mortgaging their future with a bunch of prospects because that's not a risk they're willing to make.
Yep.
So it's going to have to be trading major league talent from major league talent. I mean, think about the biggest trade they made this offseason. It was India for Singer.
Yeah.
That's the first major league for major league trade with 2 significant players that, I can remember in a long time.
For sure, for sure.
So that's the route the Reds are going to have to go. I think Krall even said as much this offseason, that we're going to have to look at major league for major league trades. And if those don't present themselves, the Reds could be in a struggle trying to add to this roster.
Yeah, and talking about the Reds trying to decipher what they want to do. One thing we talked about earlier in the week was the Pirates with Paul Skeens, as we just mentioned. So reading more about the Pirates situation, kept trying to figure out, I would find anyone absolutely crazy if they said, well, the Reds, the playoff chances this year are done. Maybe they should look to trade Ellie at the deadline. I'd be like, well, where is that coming? That's the most idiotic thing ever. Even knowing that there's a good chance the Reds may not be able to retain him down the road, that doesn't make it. We're not going to do this dumb game every year where at the deadline we're talking about, well, you're not going to keep him 5 years from now, so you might as well trade him now. I think that's silly. The Pirates, I didn't realize were in as bad a situation as they're in. I guess their farm system is just absolutely atrocious. And that's one reason why people did talk about the fact that the Pirates could potentially be looking to dangle Skeens out there to try to because there are no hopes of winning this season or in the immediate future. There's no hope coming up through the system. I know, you brought up Sal Stewart earlier. At least the Reds have prospects coming through that the very least, we could hang our hat on and say, well, we got some good talent coming up through. The Pirates don't even have a Sal Stewart coming up through the system. That's what led to the Palskines conversation, but it doesn't matter because their general manager came out and said, no, it's not a part of the conversation at all. 0% chance that Palskines will be traded. I didn't expect him to be traded, but I kept trying to figure out the motive, why that narrative was being pushed, and it's not because, the big markets like New York and others are trying to, pluck him away. It's because unlike the Reds, who do have talent in the system, the Pirates literally have they have no big picture hope at all. There's nothing in the system. They have nothing on the roster now. He's their only shining gem and might be their only way to get out of jail free when it comes to trying to replenish that system, to at least give you hope for the future. Because the only future that right now the Pirates are looking forward to is, well, what are we going to get in return for him years from now? Who knows?
They're a disgraceful organization.
Yeah.
I want to make that very clear. And the Reds, I love my Reds, but we're not much better over the past 30 years. These teams, and this is why baseball is such a broken sport. You have to argue over this stuff nonstop. We brought up minor league stats during this show as if like the Dodgers radio. You think the Dodgers radio this year are talking about what's going on down in Double A? No. They're not. The Yankees, they're not. Again, you can't compete with those teams, which is why that we're going to have a lockout in 2 years. That's going to probably change what this sport looks like moving forward. But it's the Pirates, like, having the conversation to trade their one good player is
With 5 years of team control?
Is everything that's wrong with this sport. And it's just a broken sport. And until someone fixes it, we're going to have these conversations, and we're still going to talk about how the Reds can't compete. The Reds are below the median, payroll line by a pretty substantial margin. I don't expect them to be too far above it. They need to be closer. There needs to be some sort of rule that makes the owners and ownership groups out throughout all of Major League Baseball spend up to their potential and try to have that win-now mentality. There needs to be more of that. I don't know how that's going to be. Again, there's no way of knowing what that's going to look like in a couple of years, but it's a shame. It's a shame for Pirates fans. It's a shame for Reds fans. It's a shame for a lot of these small market clubs that, to be quite honest, don't really have a shot. They have the one miracle run in the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals I'd argue maybe they hurt, teams like the Reds more than they did anything. I see people in the chat, don't go all in. Don't go all in. It's not going to work if the Reds go all in. You have to pick your time to go all in. You have to if you're a small market team. You can't expect what the Reds have right now, to be good enough to win a World Series. It just doesn't work. I think I've gone over the stats before. I think 3 times in the last, I want to say since 2000 maybe, teams below the median payroll line have won a World Series. I think it was like the Marlins in 2002. I think it was the Royals, and it was, I think, the Astros. I think there's been 3 instances where it's happened over the past 30 years. So it doesn't happen often. It's usually those top 10 in payroll, top 5 in payroll that win championships. And we all know that, and it's frustrating to see. But as I look at the Reds and I look at what Nick Kral's done, I give him a lot of credit because he's made us care this much about a team that I don't think's that good. I think that is a testament to what he's done. I don't think he's done a good enough job, but I'll give him a little bit of credit when we have a couple of these players that we can, I said it yesterday, but we buy their jerseys and we think they're superstars. And we talk about Nick Lodolo and Andrew Abbott and Hunter Greene and Ellie and Matt. And we talk about all these guys, and there's so many of them that we think could be great. We think could be franchise defining. It just takes more than the maybes, as Pearl said, the ifs. You can't deal in ifs and maybes and buts. You got to do what, in a way, big market teams do, and you don't have to do it every year. I'm not saying you have to spend as much as they do, but you do have to play the game. This is a game, and you have to play it.
Yeah, at least we don't like how much or little the Reds spend, but their game is the system, the farm system.
Yeah,
and they lean into that, good or bad. The Pirates, what's their game? When you say play the game, like, that's why the Pirates are abysmal.
Pirates are not competing.
That's what I mean. Like, for them, it's different though, because like the Reds, we want them to spend. They're not, but they'll at least lean into their farm system. That's their game plan. We don't have to like it, but they at least have a game plan. The Pirates, what is their end game? They accidentally fall into schemes because how bad they've been, and now they're so poorly constructed that he's been so good that he's made them even look worse because he stands out there, obviously, for how good he is. I mean, Hunter Greene is fantastic. Ellie De La Cruz is unbelievable. I don't think they've made the Reds look bad. I mean, there's enough pieces around them that they're at least in games. Pirates are so far from that. I know you've talked about over years comparing the two, but at least for right now, the Reds are at least closer to competing with their stars than the Pirates are with their star.
The Pirates are worthless. I mean, they have nothing coming, and they will have nothing coming.
Guys, the Pirates farm system's not that bad.
Really?
It's like right behind us. We're ranked 14th. I think they're ranked 16th. They have the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, in Bubba Chandler.
We'll see.
So, I mean, people are saying Bubba Chandler could be better than Paul Skeens as a starting pitcher. So we'll see what happens. I know they don't have a lot of pitching or position player depth. They have about 3 pitchers that are pretty good. So,
Guys, can I say something, though? What is that? For a team that can't score, what does having 2 elite pitchers do?
Yeah.
well, you trade them for someone's top 6 bats.
Well, that's a different story. If you're going to do that, yeah, I mean, I guess.
I would
But
assume. I mean, they don't sign anyone from the outside,
Yeah.
so I would assume they're going to flip them for try to get 12 top 100 prospects, and then you see where you can go from there with internal extensions.
Yeah.
All right, this is off the bench. You said right now we're at the point, again, Hunter Greene going to be on the mound tonight, Reds, Cubs. We're at the point now, as you said, where we're regular season award hunting. We're keeping an eye
That's right.
on that. Speaking of regular season awards, we kind of touched on this yesterday with SGA winning NBA MVP. Great. What is the significance of the NBA MVP, right? We're going to talk about the most impactful regular season awards across all of sports. What is the most meaningful regular season award in all of sports? We'll discuss that when we come back. All right, and we are back off the bench. Justin, Pearl, Jacob, and Elliot with you here on a Friday, final show of the week. We are off on Monday. No show on Monday due to the holiday. Show returns on Tuesday. But wanted to kind of transition out of the Reds and out of baseball and just move over to this real quick. Now, you did, as far as the Reds go, you did say we're regular season award watching right now. No confidence that the playoffs will even be in conversation moving forward, so it's keeping an eye on Hunter Greene. Can he remain in the Cy Young conversation? You think about individual awards across all of sports. Like, what is the most meaningful individual award in all of sports? Like, which is the one that you win that award and that solidifies you as a legend in that sport? And the reason I ask is because you could say, well, an MVP in any sport does that. SGA just won an MVP in the NBA, and he had a ceremony yesterday and kind of addressed the media. Heck of a talent, probably going to win a championship this year. I mean, the Thunder are pretty damn good. But, like, we've seen a lot of NBA talent win MVPs in recent years. You think of, obviously, Westbrook. You look at James Harden. Obviously, you look at the big Joel Embiid for the 76ers. Like, it just seems like they are against, obviously, giving the MVP to the same guy more than once. I mean, the one time they did what, Steve Nash won it twice. I mean, that's pretty wild to me that the NBA allowed him to win it twice, which is crazy. But bottom line is, I don't feel like the NBA MVP award, although it means something, I don't think it carries as much weight as what some other regular season awards actually carry. I mean, when James Harden is available in free agency, although, yes, he does kind of get money, you would think if you're an MVP, teams should be, in my head, teams should be lining up to acquire an MVP. No one wants James Harden. No one seems to want Russell Westbrook. No one seems to want these former MVPs. If Joel Embiid was made available in the trade market today, yes, teams would try to position themselves to get it. I don't think he would be as sought after by more than 40% of the league, which you would think if any MVP is available. If Lamar Jackson's made available right now in the NFL.
Bad example.
Bad example?
He was made available 3 years ago and no one traded for him.
Well, damn it. Okay, fine. But This is why there's a problem with
You could have traded two firsts for him,
you could've
anyone,
traded two
any
firsts.
team in the league.
But the bottom line is, like, I just feel like when I hear that the NBA MVP is announced, I don't look at SGA different. I never looked at James Harden different.
Yeah.
I never looked at Westbrook different. But like I do feel like Josh Allen just won his MVP. I look at him different. I look at Lamar Jackson different. When Joe Burrow wins his, because that's how this works, he's going to win his probably this season or next season. The NFL will allow him to win one, and it's not because he's not good enough or good enough. He's always good enough. It's just they spread it out. I don't know. I don't get all excited about the NBA MVP. I don't think it carries as much weight as some of the other individual season awards. Do you guys agree? Disagree?
Bottom
Where
of the
you at?
barrel.
I
Bottom
think-
of the barrel MVP.
I think only because we know that it's not given to the best player.
Correct.
Like I think that's the difference. It's not given to the best player. It's given to the best player on the best team.
Yep.
And there is a difference.
The best player on the best team who hasn't won it recently.
Correct.
Lots of rules.
And it just seems like the other, and to be fair, I will say, like, there are statistics, in baseball, there's so many statistics out there that can help you come up to your decision. NBA, I feel like there's a lot less. I feel like there's a lot less of
What
that.
if a guy shoots, top 10 from the field, about 58%, second in assists in the entire league at 10.2, third in rebounds at 13, and third in points at 30?
Yeah.
You think that guy should maybe win MVP?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe. That's Jokic.
I think that like if you look at the NFL MVP though, I won't give the NFL a pass. That's a quarterback.
Borderline
award.
similar.
It's a quarterback award.
Yeah,
it's that's not MVP. That's best quarterback available. So and I think what they do is in that one it's kind of similar where it's narrative driven. Because I think if you go by stats last year, I think Joe Burrow wins the MVP. I think that there's a serious case for Lamar Jackson to win the MVP. Josh Allen won it. I think it's a story-driven thing. They didn't have a lot of players, wide receiving depth. They lose Stephon Diggs. And Josh Allen, everybody has the preconceived notion the Bills aren't going to have a great year. What do? They make it a story, and they go decently far yet again.
It's also not a one-year award in the NFL. That's
Yeah.
kind of what Kinner's saying there. Joe Burrow's done it for a couple of years now. You have to do it for multiple years in order to get that nod for the media.
So I think certainly if you were going by like individual awards, I think the Heisman's probably the best award.
I think distantly.
I think the Heisman's
Distantly.
I think if you had to rank them, I think the Heisman just means the most when it comes to that. It means the most for a career. It means you're probably getting drafted 1-1. Or
If you
you're
don't
not-
get drafted, you're still set for life
Yeah.
in terms of what you can do collegiately.
So I think the Heisman's the best award. As for other awards that I think are more important, I think the Cy Young Award.
That's what I said before the show.
I think might be, in my opinion, more important because you know exactly what you're looking at. You're looking at a pitcher who has incredible numbers, probably he's leading a team to most likely a playoff appearance, and if he's not, he's still absolutely dominating as a solo performer. We know exactly who that award can be given to. It's the pitchers, and I think that award, in my opinion, is pretty high up there. As for NBA, I do like the Sixth Man of the Year. I do like that award. I like Defensive Player of the Year as well.
Worst award is the MIP.
Which one's that?
Most improved.
I think Most Improved is not.
It's just whichever number one pick scored 3 more points this year than
I
last
think
year.
Most Improved. I think Comeback Player of the Year. I think they're all.
They did a good job with Most Improved this year. Dyson Daniels deserved it. I thought they were going to give it to Cade Cunningham, which would have been disgusting.
Comeback Player of the Year is a joke. I don't mean to be mean, but I mean I think Joe Burrow was angry when he won that award.
Yeah. If Comeback Player of the Year doesn't exist last year, I think Joe Burrow finishes higher in MVP.
Yeah.
Not that he wins it, but he probably finishes a little higher.
So I think there's other awards that are more meaningful. The NBA MVP. And a lot of it, too, comes into what you said yesterday. It was leaked at, I don't know how early.
4 p.m.
4
p.m. on a Wednesday is when you find out who your league MVP is.
And I feel like even with the leak, you knew who that was going to be a month and a half ago.
It wasn't really that close either.
Because Jokic wasn't going to win it because he's just won a couple of them. So that means he's eliminated from this, even though he's by far the best player in the league this past season. And it's going to go to somebody who hasn't won it, and it's going to go to somebody who helped their team get to an unprecedented place like the Thunder did. So SGA was always a shoo-in for it. And I not that I think it diminishes it per se. I think winning the most valuable player in any sport matters. But you mentioned there, like Russell Westbrook. Does that MVP for Russell Westbrook, like, does that change his legacy? No, I don't think so.
I think it can nudge you towards the Hall of Fame.
Certainly, but I think he's in the Hall of Fame already in basketball. That's my thing. Like I think
Right, but isn't the level of play that got him in the Hall of Fame already what won him the MVP?
Sure, but I would argue it was stat padding. I'd argue that he was a really good player on a really not great team, and he would just throw the ball off the rim and get 10 rebounds every game and average a triple-double. So, I mean, it goes all these different ways.
I'll defend Russell Westbrook on this. He was actually one of my more favorite MVPs, I guess.
I love Russell Westbrook.
Over James Harden and others. Because that guy, when you watch him, he was playing hard. And the triple-double, or like the triple-double now is so watered down in basketball. It's not
Correct.
It's not as like rare as what it once was. But it was rare when he started putting up all those triple doubles. I mean, nearly averaging one, which is what put him in that position to win it to begin with. But then he wins that MVP because of that. But then guess what he did the next season? His numbers were better. His numbers 2 years after winning MVP were even better than 2 years ago. His teams were even better. Never won one again. It was just like, all right, you're impressive. Here's your MVP now. Go over there.
Jokic averaged a triple-double this year. We didn't hear about it once.
Yeah.
Didn't hear about it one time.
So it's just that's the crazy part about it. Now, what do you guys think about baseball doing? I mean, imagine if the NBA did an Eastern Conference MVP and a Western Conference MVP. If there's a national, if you look at the NFL, the AFC MVP, NFC MVP. It is weird that baseball does that, and it's the norm. And it's weird that no other sport has tried to jump on that too to help build up more legacies in the sport. Because again, it would all be quarterbacks still in the NFL. But I do find it interesting that baseball does that.
I think that the difference is there's so many different players in baseball that can win it. There's pitchers can win it. You have every single position. You have 9 different positions out there that can win that award.
See, I think the Cy Young bails that out because is the Cy Young or the MVP in baseball more?
Cy Young.
I think Cy Young is. I think when you talk about Cy Young, I think
so. If you take the Cy Young award out, do you think every year the MVP would be a pitcher, just like the MVP is a quarterback?
I think we'd see the same exact percentage of pitchers win MVP.
Because pitchers still win MVP.
Very low number.
Yeah, okay.
Pitchers still win MVP. It's just not as much,
I just feel like it totally eliminates pitchers from even being in the MVP conversation, so it makes it easy to lean to the judges and the Shoheis, who is a pitcher.
No, I mean, Verlander won an MVP. Kershaw won an MVP. They've won MVPs. So it's.
I'd say they win it, but how long ago was Verlander winning that one?
But that's what I mean. I think it would be the same if Cy Young didn't exist.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of like the Lineman of the Year award or like the Blitnikoff and stuff that they're adding in these other sports to give these other positions recognition because it always does go to the quarterback. I think it's dumb in baseball that they do the both sides awards now. It made sense when the rules were different between the two divisions, 2 conferences. Now they play the same sport.
Yeah. Give
one award to your team. I mean, when one had a DH and one didn't, that's fine. Give awards to the 2 different. They played out 2 different rules. Now it makes no sense to me.
Especially because everyone plays everyone now.
Right.
Kershaw won in 2014. Verlander won in 2011.
Okay. No, and I just mean like with how rare that
it's
is.
Rare for sure.
And I wonder if you took the Cy Youngs away, that award away, maybe that leads to that. I don't know, but even like the QB of the Year award, which is just the MVP, but the fact that the quarterback and all that, I don't know, it's strange. So you're saying baseball should eliminate 2 MVPs? So. Should other sports add an MVP then?
No.
In both?
No. If you're the MVP of the league, you're the MVP of the league. I don't like that there's 2.
And I agree about the Heisman, like that award. I mean, I'm close with Keith. He pops on from time to time. Yeah. But every time we go out places, that's the first thing people bring up is that Heisman should have been yours. How many times outside of like LeBron and an all-time great? How many times are people walking around saying, "Man, that 2018 MVP award should have been yours"? That doesn't happen. I don't even think it happens in the NFL. It doesn't happen in the NBA. I think the Heisman, that like people get very passionate about who should win that award. Now, we live in Buckeye country, so I'm sure a lot of that has to, Keith, is he getting that elsewhere? Probably. He gets it a lot in Philadelphia when he's there too. So I don't know. I do agree. I mean, the Heisman, even the commercial, Heismans are still celebrated like crazy during the college football season. I mean, those commercials, they may be goofy, but they're still honored to this day. There's no other award that gets more recognition than winning a Heisman in today's sports climate.
I think the 2 coolest awards to win, and one is just winning the championship, but winning a green jacket for the Masters and then winning the Heisman are the 2 coolest things. In my opinion, and gold medal would be close. Gold medal would probably be right there.
So, I guess it's somewhat of a tangent. So Masters is your number 1 championship trophy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still Stanley Cup, but Masters is close.
Green jacket's sick.
Green jacket.
RBC Heritage, better jacket. It's just not a major.
I didn't know. They give out a jacket too?
Plaid jacket's phenomenal.
Are we excited about Happy Gilmore 2, by the way?
It's going to be terrible, and I'm going to watch it.
It's not going to be good. It's going to be really bad.
I think Shooter, I'm excited for him. I think he's going to carry it more than Adam Sandler.
It's going to be that movie's going to stick.
I think it's going to I think it's going to be like a fundamentally bad movie.
Like what?
Travis Kelce is
in the movie.
I haven't read.
Oh yeah.
Have you watched Happy Gilmore, the first one?
No.
Oh no.
That's your homework.
See, I didn't watch Titanic, and I haven't watched Happy
Well, I mean,
Gilmore, so.
Titanic. You certainly
It
don't
came
need to
out
see
the same
Titanic.
year. No,
Gotta
they-
watch Happy Gilmore.
Okay, but like the whole thing we were talking about, Mission Impossible.
You just don't like movies. You're
I
not a movie
don't. No,
person.
I don't. It's long. I can't. I gotta pause.
2 hours and Happy
Also-
Gilmore is 90 minutes.
Okay,
Happy
but
Gilmore is
also
like 90
I know
minutes.
what's gonna happen in the Titanic, and I'm not gonna set myself up purposefully to be sad.
See, I disagree.
Yeah, that chick kills Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, she murders
drowns him.
I know of
Allegedly.
Happy Gilmore though. I know, like, yeah.
Happy Gilmore came out before the Titanic. I don't know why I was curious
you.
about
That's
that.
your fact
but
of the day.
That's
That's
my
your
fact of the
Stat
day.
of the day. Shout out Dan Patrick.
I thought Titanic was older than Happy Gilmore, but it is not. So there's
I
that.
thought it was
But
older too.
what would the storyline even be for Happy Gilmore 2?
I imagine he's.
I would
trying-
imagine he has hockey tryouts coming up, and he finds out he can play golf, and he enters a tournament, and he's against Scooter McGavin. Maybe they have him meet on the green, and the sprinklers go off.
Is the plot not already out?
No, I purposely don't like to read those.
It's going to be
Oh.
cut and paste. Has to be.
It's just no. It's just going to be him trying to win again. I mean, he's probably lost the money from the first
It's
movie.
the exact same thing, except for he's going to start in a casino, and he's going to be broke.
Yeah,
Does he still go to his happy place? Like,
I mean, I believe that's
the happy
one of-
place will 1,000% be in that movie.
there you go. It's like stick to sports.
They have
All right. This is Off the Bench. Justin Kinner. We got Pearl, Jacob, and Elliot hanging out with you here on a Friday. We'll step away for a few moments. And is this it? Is this the day that we finally get
Maybe.
to the topic? Are we finally going to do it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Let's see what happens. We'll be right back. Is today the day?
The moment you've all been waiting for.
I
I think the only reason people care about this topic is because we just haven't got to it.
It's been on the ticker for, I think, 5 days.
Yeah, someone said 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't think it's 2 weeks. I do think it was when the Eastern and Western Conference finals were set.
Yeah.
So earlier in the week. Look, the dynasty conversation, a little generic. I think we've had it before, but like the NBA is kind of known for, when you think of the NBA, you think of dynasties. Like more than any other sport, the NFL does a good job of convincing you that there's parity, but there's kind of not. It's the same teams constantly, it seems. But no, the NBA for the 7th straight year, when an NBA champion is crowned this year, it'll be the 7th straight season where a non-repeat champion is crowned. The NBA's biggest problem was, well, and I fall in this camp. I was wrong. I used to think that it was wrong. I used to think that it was bad for the sport to have the same teams win it every single season. Seeing Shaq and Kobe every single season. Seeing the San Antonio Spurs every single season. The Cavs, selfishly, I was a LeBron fan, so that didn't bother me. But like the Miami Heat ruining the NBA. Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant. Bottom line is, like, I look at the 2000s era as the dynasty era. You had 2 Lakers dynasties and the San Antonio Spurs dynasty. I look at the 2010s era as the super team era. That's where you had multiple super teams, whether it was the Cleveland Cavaliers with Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, or the Heatles, obviously, with LeBron, D. Wade, and Bosh. What'd I do?
Nothing.
Now we've
Now we're going to
distracted
have
him.
to. I didn't change the ticker from yesterday, and you did the ticker yesterday.
Oh, was the ticker the same?
He misspelled parody.
No, I didn't. Yeah, this is different. This is definitely different.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I don't think I changed the ticker from yesterday. Maybe it is on me.
Yeah, because it was yesterday. It was Reds Pirates. I didn't have Reds Cubs series
All
on
right.
there yesterday. I didn't have buy or sell in there.
I thought I didn't change it today.
I spelled parody right.
Elder.
Now I'm gonna go back to yesterday's show and I'm
And
gonna double
make sure.
check. That's what's gonna have to happen. I'm sure the point that Kinner was making was really good just then.
I
Never
fixed
is.
it. Middle of
Never
what you were
is.
talking. It wouldn't have been
I'm
been a
going
problem.
back. I'm going back.
Now
to
we're
yes-
here.
I'm going back to yesterday. We're gonna find out together.
No, you're totally fine. It's just my lack of self-esteem. I always think what I do.
It wasn't even you.
You
It
know.
wasn't you, brother.
Oh, it usually is.
And for what it's worth, like this whole debate, like I'm always going to be on the side of the underdog. You guys heard me rant and rave about the March Madness. Like I'm always on the side of cheering for the little guys. I love the fact that the Indiana Pacers could be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals. The issue is, and Kinner's the biggest TV ratings guy on the universe, nobody's going to watch. Like, that's always the thing for me is, like, the ratings go drastically down. When the Cincinnati Bengals are playing the Rams in the Super Bowl, you're going to lose ratings there because it's not, for some reason, it's not that draw. It doesn't get that same draw as everybody else does. I don't care about the ratings. I don't care about them. I don't talk about them. Only for this show we talk about them because it's just something to talk about. And I think I definitely spelled it right yesterday.
Look at you.
I spelled it right yesterday, so credit to me.
Credit to me.
You were giving a take while fact-checking at the same time. That was pretty
I would
impressive.
actually say credit to me for blaming you, even though it was me.
That's all right. You can blame me.
That's
I
called
don't care.
gaslighting.
It's Friday. You can blame me. But my point being, though, I've always cheered for the underdog. I love the fact that they've had 7 different champions. I love it. The only argument I have against myself would be, as much as I love the story, the Cinderella story is great, the other biggest part of a story is the villain. And you can't have a villain unless the villain is winning. Like, the villain has to win every once in a while. When LeBron James went to the Heat, that's a villain story, right? When the Warriors win 3 in a row, they're the villain team. And you have a common enemy, right? So you're cheering with everybody else who's watching this sport with you. And you're all looking at that team or that player or whoever, and you're saying, we got to rise up and beat them. So that's the part of it where when you have teams that really haven't, won anything in a row, you don't expect them to win anything in a row, you lose the idea of the villain. There's no villain. There hasn't been a villain in the NBA in quite some time, it feels like.
Katie Warriors.
That was the last
Would be
villain.
the last one, probably.
So, like, if it's the Thunder versus the Knicks, there's no villain there, right? I mean, I imagine we'd all cheer for the Thunder,
Yeah.
but the Knicks are perennial losers. So, like, they haven't won a ton.
But their fans are Yankee fans.
That's true, but they
like,
haven't won anything. Like,
the
they don't
Knicks don't have that tradition. Like, you would think, like, the Yankees have all those superstars on their roster. So when they get to the World Series, you root against them because, that's what the Yankees do. This Knicks team is pretty likable, actually. I think this Knicks team is likable. I think I love Jalen Brunson. I think the makeup of the roster makes them more likable as far as that goes.
Jalen Brunson is the villain.
He's the villain?
If it's a Knicks Thunder
He's not a
final,
villain.
they're going to have to rearrange the schedule because those games are going to take 48 hours.
He's the villain.
It's going to be
Jake.
SGA and Brunson.
He's mad at the free throws.
He's the villain to
Yeah.
Jake.
It's going to be
Stoppage
SGA and Brunson
play,
just diving
pace of
into
play.
the floor.
I
causing
agree.
fouls.
I agree with you. It's silly how they play basketball. I'm just saying that they're not villains in for everybody else. And that's what you miss out on like the Dodgers right now. I think it's great that the Dodgers are about to shut down baseball for a whole season because we all know that we're all cheering against them.
They have to win.
We went to media day for the Reds, and I asked Terry Francona before Nick Krall rudely stepped in. I asked him, does it mean more to beat a team like the Dodgers who spend $1 billion more than you and win more championships and have that recent success? And there's a story there, right? And that's what I think you're missing in the NBA right now when it's different teams every year winning championships. Even the Boston Celtics, they put it in there, the Boston Celtics. Celtics, A, aren't in the championship this year, so they can't really be the villain. And B, I think the Celtics, if anything, that's a likable team. Like, I don't hate really anybody on that team. I know Jason Tatum, not my favorite player.
I think you hate Jason Tatum.
Outside of Jason Tatum, though.
Their best player?
Derek White's my favorite player in the league.
By the way, Dallas Mavericks are pursuing him, by the way, just so you know.
The Dallas Mavericks
Oh, yeah.
are? That might
Hope he's
bring him
healthy.
back. That
Hope
might
he's
save
healthy.
him. But my point being, you need a villain in sports just as much as you need the underdog, just as much as you need the hero.
Yeah,
if you don't have that, you have nothing. Like college basketball this year, we had this debate back. I don't want to see 4-1s. I don't want to see it. You guys want to see it. You want to see the best of the best. Yada yada yada. I get it. I want to see like a team that has never had a shot. They're going up against a team that's pretty good. And to have the ability coming into that game with the thought that maybe we shock the world here. I love that feeling. There's not a better feeling in the world than when I watch sports. It's the only reason I watch sports. My teams are all underdogs. So that's why I like the parity over dynasty.
You lose the fun of an underdog without a dynasty, though, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
Correct.
Like
and it goes
Pacers, Minnesota. Who's that fun for? That's not even fun for the guy rooting for the underdog.
You can't have David versus Goliath if there's no Goliath.
Right.
And I don't think the NBA has a Goliath right now.
Like the peak of, I would assume, underdog rooting in the NBA, which was probably painful for you because I know you're a LeBron guy as well, but I would assume it's those 2011 Mavericks.
Yeah.
Right? And they take down the big bad Heat. If they would have beaten Dwight Howard and the Magic, are they viewed the same way?
No.
Right.
Not
So
even a
I
little
think
bit.
even the fans of the little guy, I still think you need the dynasty in there somewhere.
Yeah.
If they beat them before the finals, sure, that's great. But I still think that's what makes them historic, and that's what makes the run generational. And that's why I think if the Knicks do win this championship, they're going to be viewed pretty similar to something like that with having a great run because they did beat the Celtics. And maybe it's an uphill battle for a team like the Pacers. The Timberwolves would have the same thing, like the Thunder. And I think it's a weird conversation to have revolving around the Thunder because what are they?
Yeah.
They were the best team in the league all year. They were a top 3 favorite to win the championship preseason. And now they're going to, at least it looks like, get there pretty easily. And they're not a juggernaut?
Yeah.
I don't know why it feels that way, but it certainly does feel that way. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it takes a little bit of time for them to be competitive, stack a couple wins, and then we'll view the Thunder differently. But I think it's very weird that a 64-win team is just kind of unanimously viewed as the plucky little guy with the MVP on their roster.
Especially because I think people look at it that way because, it's the market. It's Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma City, right? Like,
right.
I do think, and it goes back to your point, like, the storyline matters. We talked about storylines with MVPs earlier. I think storylines matter big time because you have to have a reason to tune in to watch. And if when people complained in the 2010s about the super teams, I was on that side at first. I thought it was bad, even though I thought it was cool to see LeBron go to the Heat, and we hadn't seen something like that. We haven't seen where players force their way to a team or whatever.
Right.
But I tuned into every Heat game. I made sure I was available to watch every Heat game. I don't know the last NBA team where I've made sure that I have to stop to make sure that I tune into every NBA game as far as that goes, especially LeBron going to the West Coast. I'm not staying up to watch 10 p.m. tip-offs every single
The most consistent basketball I've
night.
watched was probably the bubble.
Well, yeah.
You knew it when it was on. It was scheduled pretty regularly.
That is 100% the most NBA.
I watched every game they played. in
Nothing
that
else to do. Live
It was
sports.
so much fun.
It was like Hulu. I
Yeah.
mean, just live sports everywhere as far as that goes. But no, like for right now, the 7 straight years of a different NBA champion, it sounds good. It's a feel-good story, but I don't think feel-good stories get you to tune in. You need the biggest emotion you could have with sports is hate. The Kansas City Chiefs, we all can't stand the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone keeps saying there's Chiefs fatigue. I saw when the TV schedule came out, there's Chiefs fatigue. Stop putting them on TV. The ratings say everything's completely different. In fact, the last 3 Super Bowls, last year was the most watched Super Bowl ever. The year before that was the most watched Super Bowl ever. The year before that was the most watched Super Bowl ever. Is it because of the Chiefs? I don't know, but I know everyone was super happy to watch the Eagles kick their ass this past Super Bowl. Nonetheless, you mentioned the Bengals earlier not being a big draw. I think the Bengals, if they get back to a Super Bowl again with this core, I think they're a significantly bigger draw now than what they were in year 2 of Joe Burrow, when you're still trying to figure out, when the league is trying to figure out where he falls in the pecking order, when you have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and those others. Joe Burrow is a legitimate mainstay now. So I think if they get back to a Super Bowl, I think that is a big draw. I think that is a big rating. I don't think it's about markets anymore. I don't. I think it is about storylines and all of that. Cleveland's not a market that anyone gives a damn about, but when LeBron was there, all of a sudden, it was big ratings bonanza as far as that's concerned. So the NBA just doesn't have storylines. There's nothing I'm interested in as far as rooting against. Now, this Pacer storyline has me locked in. By the way, that got a good rating. That was actually one of the most highest rated Eastern Conference Finals since 2013 or 14, I read. So, but there's a storyline there. It's the Knicks. It's the Pacers. It's the, Reggie Miller's involved, TNT. It's the final NBA playoffs on that channel. So who knows? But yes, I think dynasties are good for sports.
I do too.
If they disappeared in the NFL,
The Western Conference Finals, I think that their ratings are down.
That was bad. So those numbers were really, really bad. Eastern Conference was up significantly, but there's a storyline there. I don't think a storyline is, you got your MVP. That's not a storyline to me.
This is the least I've cared about the Western Conference in the NBA ever.
The Western Conference is 50 times better than the East, which
I
is
know.
why that's funny.
I just think it's like there's so many more players that I care about on the other side.
Players?
Players, teams, yeah.
Okay.
Well, usually LeBron goes to the East, all the good players go to the West. LeBron goes to the West, all the good players go to the East. Not 40-year-old LeBron, but that was the trend.
I would say the West has a lot more really good players than the East has.
That was the trend early on, either way. But
Getting Cooper Flag, too. Nightmare. And Giannis, probably.
God, I want him to go to Cleveland.
Giannis? You want to trade Mobley? You're on the Mobley train?
Yes, I don't know. There's so many people that are adamantly against that.
I think it'd be a terrible move for Cleveland.
Now, I keep hearing people say, well, Mobley, you're going to get many more years with him. Great. It's just another example of a really good player in Cleveland that okay, you at least have that. Giannis can come in. I would take Donovan Mitchell and Giannis Antetokounmpo would be the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. I would take that over anything else right now. I love that 1-2 punch, especially because you still have Darius Garland. All right, get Jared Allen's soft ass out of there too. I would go get Draymond Green. I said, would you call the Warriors into a straight up trade, Draymond Green for Jared Allen? Absolutely. Jared Allen's great in the regular season, but he's soft. They keep showing these clips of a fight that broke out one of the playoff games. Jared Allen saw it, just turned and walked right back towards the bench.
He has one of my favorite quote cards ever. I use it all the time. When he said the lights were just too bright, I send that all the time. Anytime I screw something up, I just say
golf, anything, lights too bright. Misspelled parody, lights too bright.
Lights too bright.
There you go. But you want them to, or you don't want them to trade for Giannis.
I would love it if they did. I think it would make them a worse team. I think it would make the Bucks a worse team, so it would be good for the Pacers. But yeah, and I think Evan Mobley, if you have a guy that's this young, just starting out on a max extension, you just gave me just won Defensive Player of the Year, I think I'm pretty confident to build around this core. I also think it's tough to watch this Pacers team and put too much blame on the Cavs. I mean, they got hurt, and that dug them a hole that was pretty hard for them to get out of.
Yep.
And then the Pacers have gone on now, and in just one game, I know, since they beat the Cavs, but still, there's some kind of devil magic, human sacrifice, something going on in Indiana that they're winning these games. So, I don't know that I'm blowing it up in Cleveland because Tyler Halliburton put magnets in the basketballs and he sent you home. You had a great team all the way through the regular season, and I don't know, this is probably a better core than they even ever had with LeBron.
Yes.
So I don't know that I'm blowing it up to try to get an
I mean, they don't have a Matthew
superstar.
Dellavedova by any means, but I mean, it's
That's
still
right.
pretty
Matthew Dellavedova, man, he's number one all time in controlling the narrative. Steph Curry cooked him.
No.
Cooked him. He was dying on the sidelines.
That's not what I remember.
He won a championship though.
We're out of time, but I really wanted to hear this clip from old Sean Miller talking about how sad it was for him to leave Xavier for not once but a second time. Imagine getting married, getting divorced, remarrying that same person, divorcing again, and then talking about, I'm really bummed it didn't work
Just true
out.
love, man. It's just true love. Right person at the wrong time.
As Marty Brenneman says, ain't love grand as far as that goes. But, Sean Miller really trying to do this boo-hoo story of how tough it was to leave Xavier. No, it wasn't, and it's okay. It doesn't have to be tough.
Pretty unlikable person.
They used you used them. And I don't feel bad for either side. You both knew you were not going to stick around much longer anyway.
I feel bad for the Xavier fans that thought he was staying forever because
that's what
just
I'm
outside of basketball, they got to get some help.
Yeah.
I never thought Sean was there to stay long term because if he had any kind of success, he was going to bounce. He never would have come back down to that level anyways if he wouldn't have had that scandal going on in Arizona, which Arizona was a boring brand for him to be at anyways. So there's that. But
I'll never forgive him for that 8-10 team losing in the first round. Had him winning the whole thing. Cost me my bracket.
people don't forget.
People don't forget.
All right, that wraps it up for us. Oh, no, it does not. Not yet. Pearl.
Yeah.
Reds Cubs, game 1 tonight.
Oh!
Oh. Optimism is really kicking me in the butt.
Like it's like you're optimistic and you're trying to fight it, or you're trying to be optimistic?
I'm trying to be I'm being optimistic, but I'm trying to be realistic.
Ooh, I like that. How's that working out for you? What do you got?
It's not working out good because I've been wrong 2 times. Green's back, so I'll definitely stick with my optimism. I'll say, do you want a score prediction or you want to say we win? Reds, 5-3.
5-3 Reds over the Cubs, game 1, according to Pearl. All right, let's do it.
Oh, man!
Cubs 1-0.
I'll take the Cubs 5-2.
So I wanted 5-3. Nice pick. Was going to go 5-2 next. But I'm going to go 5-1. The Reds will score 1 run.
Oh, okay.
Good.
This is going to, by the way, for fun. So the chat, always a little aggressive, yes, but when we repost stuff to YouTube, the comments underneath are becoming pretty
They
damn
are. They are
hilarious.
pretty fun.
Like, pretty damn hilarious. Like, I mean, our negativity, I guess. But they never go back and say, okay, you guys were right. Like, you know, they never go back and say, all right, you guys were right. They didn't do well tonight. Like, they never do that.
We don't get the credit.
No.
That's why we give Elliott credit when he deserves it.
I do deserve credit sometimes.
I know I'll be wrong, but I'm just trying to be optimistic here. Green's back, so I'm like, holding out hope.
Yeah, you can
It's
hold
okay.
out
I
hope.
know I'll be wrong.
You can hold out
They'll
hope.
just
allow
trying to be
only one
positive.
run.
I've been holding out hope. I'm 26 years old. Been holding out hope every year. Hasn't worked once. CES looked good yesterday.
He did. He
did
did.
not.
2 3-pitch strikeouts.
He's no Sal Stewart.
One of those
am I right?
prospects.
He's no Sal Stewart.
That's true.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us on radio. Until next week, this has been Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. The Hoosiers announced that they're going to be playing at Kentucky on December 13th, basketball.
Wow.
Oh, fun.
So that's back.
Headlines.
Yep.
That's a headline.
Where Elliott was wrong.
Did you put that in headlines?
No.
Oh, phew. I've done that before, where he'll put something in headlines, and then later I'll say it as if it's the first time it's been said on the show, and then I'm like, yeah, my
already said
bad.
it.
I was not paying attention.
Something I did want to bring up on the off-radio segment, I thought was kind of funny and interesting to notice yesterday.
Oh, funny. Angel Reese?
No, but
Oh,
we
sorry.
should probably
Continue.
talk about that. We should talk about that because she looked great yesterday, rebounding her own missed layups. Aiden Hutchinson, coming off a broken leg, he's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Not comeback player of the year. Defensive
He's the
player of year.
favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. He hasn't played football in over a year. How does that make sense?
Who's second? Who's behind?
I would assume it'd be Myles Garrett. I mean, I don't know how Myles Garrett wouldn't be first in that Browns defense. Maybe you go TJ just because he's done it time and time again over the last few years. I know Hutchinson was pacing unbelievable numbers last year before he got hurt, but I mean, that's not only betting on him to do the production again. That's betting on a seamless recovery where he can go into that production in week 1.
Yeah.
That makes almost no sense to me.
I think the injury thing in the NFL is crazy because it's like players will have, like Nick Chubb, no disrespect to your guy. Nick Chubb looked like a completely different player. I know it's 2 different positions, but I mean, Nick Chubb, that injury happened, and I think pretty much everybody knew there's no way you were going to come back from that. I mean, not like how you were. It's just a different look. And when you're so physical, like Aiden Hutchinson's going to be, it's going to be difficult to bounce back. I think he's going to be a good player. I think
He's going to be a great player. And I honestly think he'll get back to form eventually, probably at some point this season.
It's just to bet him as the favorite doesn't make sense.
He's plus 650. Micah Parsons right behind him at plus 750. Myles Garrett behind that at plus 850. TJ Watt rounding at the top 4 at plus 950.
I see.
So
No
Nate-
Trey Hendrickson on there.
Nate,
And I'm
Nate,
not
Trey
mock-
Hendrickson is below Will Anderson, Max Crosby, Nick Bosa, Jared Verse, and Jalen Carter at 22-1.
See, I'm not mocking that. If they get that stuff figured out before camp or in camp, or as long as he's ready to go week 1, if he has another big sack season like he did last year and the defense is improved and the Bengals are a playoff team, what is the likelihood that he comes away with that? I mean, he's been it's a storyline driven league.
If
If he
the-
has a big season on a improved defense on a playoff team, because he's been held back the last couple of years from a non-playoff team, bad defense, yes. But if this defense is improved like you guys are anticipating it being, and he picks up where he left off last year, I could see him being in that conversation down the stretch. He was kind of in the conversation, as weird as that was last
second.
year. So
I think he's got to get to 20 sacks. I think even if he leads the league at 19,
I
I
think
think he's got to get to 20. He's not nearly a good enough run defender to give him a nod over anyone else. He shouldn't have been second last year with the sack production he had. He doesn't play a full, well-rounded defensive edge position. He's great at rushing the quarterback, but that's about it.
If he's
he
the-
shouldn't be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
whether or not he should or shouldn't be, I don't think it matters here. I think if you lead the league in sacks solo, if you solo lead the league in sacks, and you're a playoff team, and the defense isn't as terrible as it was last year, I think he wins that award. I don't even think it's.
You think he wins it last year if we made the playoffs?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh
chance.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah, because it wasn't close because they weren't a playoff team. And
It wasn't close because T.J. Watt can't sniff those guys' jock straps.
Yeah, I mean,
Trey Hendrickson.
I think that Trey Hendrickson, when you look at Trey Hendrickson, you compare him to the guys that he thinks he's certainly as good as. He's not. I mean, he's just not.
Would you take him over any of the players listed ahead of him on that list?
No.
1-for-1 trade?
No.
I wouldn't either. Would you?
No.
Right. So then why are we even debating paying him 30?
Okay, but let's.
Right?
What if we pay him what his odds are? He's 22-1. 22 mil.
Yeah.
$6 million raise?
He is the
1 year?
honest. He is the weirdest best talent in the NFL, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't make sense, and I can't tell if it's because of.
I mean, he's an elite pass rusher.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, it is the fact that he's been on bad defenses the last couple of years, but like, I can't think of a player comp for him. I can't think of anyone that has that. I mean, because a lot of people make too much too about the sack numbers themselves. It is about the hurries and obviously how often you get to the court. I mean, we're talking about Shamar. Let me ask you this: Shamar Stewart doesn't actually pull down the sack numbers that you get from Hendrickson, but he has the same hurries and impact that he did in college. Who's more impactful for the Bengals, the guy that gets all the sacks or the guy that gets to the quarterback more technically?
Well, that's why
Shamar
I think
Stewart.
I think that's why it's so important to have them both play at the same time.
Because I think they could feed one another. Like,
Correct.
yeah,
Trey Hendrickson doesn't tackle anybody. I mean, what does he rank in tackles?
Very bad.
50th? I think he's 50th in
I'm
tackles.
not logged in on the computer.
I'm pretty sure Trey Hendrickson's almost like 50th in tackles. And if that's the case, I think he's good at getting the quarterback? Sure. But you also need to do the other side of your job. And I think that if you have both of those guys together this year, I think the Bengals defense is going to be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
Who do I think is better, though, is your question? Probably. I mean, I don't know. I think if
Trey's better. I just mean, like, which is more impactful, I guess, as silly as that sounds.
If Shamar is able to get to the quarterback just as much as Trey does, maybe he doesn't have the sacks, but he gets to the quarterback, puts the pressure, and makes more tackles, then yeah, I would say Shamar.
If he's more of a disruptor. Because
Shamar Stewart's a better run defender than Trey right now.
Here's the thing about Trey. I don't think he's a disruptor. I know that sounds ridiculous for a guy that has 17.5 sacks. Like, I'll watch, and this isn't a Browns thing, I'll watch Myles Garrett. He disrupts everything, every play, whether he gets a sack or not. Same thing with Watt, as much as he drives me nuts. Crosby. Because people thought it was crazy to give Crosby that money, mainly because of the age. But Crosby is a disruptor. I think the thing with Trey, he's just not a disruptor. I don't feel like he's creating chaos too often. When he does get back, I mean, when he pulls down a sack, yes, but I just think between sacks, he's not as much of a disruptor as the other guys that we've mentioned that are getting paid significantly more. But
yeah, he was first in pressures in 2024. He was 51st in tackles.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Trey was?
83 pressures in 2024.
All right, my bad.
So first in pressures in 2024, 51st in tackles. When you lead the league in pressures and you lead the league in sacks and you still come in as the 8th highest rated PFF edge rusher, how bad are you against the run?
Do you feel, I mean, so those numbers kind of surprised me a bit. Are you surprised that they're that high?
I am
like,
a
do
little
you
bit
feel like
surprised
that's what you're seeing when you
that
watch
the pressure
them?
numbers are that high? I would wager that, I mean, I think something that's pretty interesting about it is he converts a crazy number. I mean, it was 22 pressures and you get 17.5 sacks. That's unbelievable.
That hit rate's pretty good.
So maybe he's not getting a ton of pressures, but he's converting it.
I just think that
number.
like I always feel like he's always near Lamar Jackson. You just can't finish it against Lamar. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not going to get the sack, if you're not going to finish it off, what is Trey Hendrickson doing? He's scrambling the quarterback out of the pocket. Then the quarterback has infinite time to throw to somebody downfield against our terrible secondary, or he gets to scramble because nobody else can make a tackle. Like, that's unfortunately the issue with the Bengals.
Trey Hendrickson had a 90.5 pass rush grade last year, 90.5, among the best in the entire league, among the best over the last couple seasons. He was a 66 grade against the run. That's 67th out of 200 edge rushers. That's not close to $30 million.
And that's also the problem. When you lose. That was Rankin's. That was supposed to be his job. That was supposed to be like.
It doesn't hurt the fact that, I mean, when you're looking at who you're paying here, he's 13th among defensive ends in total snaps, and that's because you can't necessarily play him on those big body rundowns where Myles Garrett's not leaving the field, T.J. Watt's not leaving the field, Micah Parsons isn't leaving the field. So you're talking about two different players, and I know he has sack production. I know that's what you look at, but a lot more goes into that position.
Yeah, the more you look into this stuff, it is amazing that there's no self-awareness between him and the agent. Not saying he's a bum, not saying he should settle for significantly less than the others.
28
but
million.
the 28 seems fair.
Yeah.
considering the limitations compared to the rest, I do think that that's fair. I don't think that's lowballing. I don't even think that's disrespectful.
31.
I mean,
He's 31 years old.
Yeah.
What does he want? Well, you know what he wants.
Outside of Trey Hendrickson, the most important player on the defensive side of the ball is who? Like they
I'm gonna
have
say Logan Wilson because
for the Bengals to be good. That this person has to be great outside of Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, I'm going Logan Wilson. I think if we're gonna rely on a defense with personnel scarily similar to last year's personnel going into this season, Logan Wilson's injury has to mean a lot for how that defense played last year. I think he covers up a lot of what Jermaine Pratt is unable to do and lets him kind of just run around and hit people, which Jermaine Pratt was good at in 2021, 2022. So got him a second contract. I think Logan Wilson covers up a lot, coverage-wise in the middle of that defense and against the run. I think he's one of the best linebackers in all of football. So getting him back as the green dot calling the plays in the middle of that defense with Al Golden, who he worked with before in his, I know it's the new DC, but in these linebackers, Pratt, if he sticks around, and obviously Wilson, their best seasons of their career were with Al Golden.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can, reignite some of that, and he can, drive this team. I think Logan Wilson's a superstar. So hopefully he can get back to form.
Do you think that's one? Do you think that Pratt's still there because Al Golden told the front office,
I don't know.
I want Pratt?
It's a good question.
If Pratt had the best season, like you said, with him, I'm not saying that like Pratt's at the talent level of I'll take the job, but only if I have. But that could have been him relaying to the front office, hey, if there's a way to keep Pratt, I'd like to keep him.
Then
Maybe
it's an
he
F
sees
draft.
something. What's that?
Then it's an F draft.
Fair enough.
If you're going to keep Jermaine Pratt, you can't draft two linebackers in the top 5 rounds.
Oh, from that perspective, yeah.
You
Okay.
can't. You have to trade him for something. Or cut him.
What is their
Keep
plan?
the money.
Is he just going to be cut?
He has to be. And then the question is, are they going to spend that money somewhere? Or are they just going to cut him so they can, have a couple inches under the mattress?
Yeah.
How thick's that mattress?
They have a lot of money under there, man.
All right. Well, anything else before we close
I
out?
think that's good.
Reds positivity, has it increased at all from today?
Positivity. There's a new Twitter update that looks gross.
Oh, who's hurt?
No, I just mean the actual cosmetics of the update look bad.
That's your guy, though.
New like button.
Picks on the Weenie 500.
Yes, go ahead. If you would like to, yes.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just being funny. I don't know. Do you actually want me to go into it?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I guess if you guys didn't know, the first time in a decade, all 6 Oscar Mayer Wiener vehicles are having a Weenie 500 ahead of the Indy 500 today at 2 p.m. And there's 6 of them. Shy Dog, New York Dog, Slaw Dog, Sonoran Dog, Chili Dog, which, what the heck, there's no Coney, and Seattle Dog.
All right, who are we rolling with?
I will
Chili
take
Dog?
Chi Dog or Shy Dog, whatever.
Fair enough.
Elliot loves Chicago hot dogs.
I do.
What do you like
Those
on
are
them?
What is a
Good.
Chicago? Like, what makes it
Hold
a
on,
Chicago
you're gonna love
dog?
this. What do you put on your Chicago hot dogs?
Just plain.
He loves Chicago hot dogs with no toppings. Pearl,
That's
thoughts?
a hot dog. That's just a hot dog.
It's from Chicago, though, so I plain.
What does that matter?
It's from Chicago.
They have like a
it's a
specific
Chicago hot
brand
dog.
of hot dog, though. I will say this.
Thank you. That's right.
I
That is
will
correct.
give you that.
That's
It
correct.
has to be it's
She's
beef.
correct.
Then
So-
you're just eating an all-beef hot dog.
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't call it a Chicago dog. Their hot dog brand is
I call it
good.
Chicago. It's from Chicago.
Oh my god, I will.
It's from Chicago. If it wasn't from Chicago, I wouldn't call it that, but it
Was
is.
the one you got in Columbus
I'll
from
go
Chicago?
Chicago dog though.
Yes.
I doubt it.
they shipped it in.
The most overrated hot dog in the entire universe is the Dodger dog. By the way, it's
What
Really?
is it? Just like
it's
what?
just a hot dog. Like if the Reds wanted to like compete with them and say, hey, it's the Cincinnati dog.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's just a hot dog. Like there's no like special bun. There's no
well,
special.
it's the Dodgers.
I
They're
don't
gonna.
know. The Denny dog at Alabama is
Oh, here we go.
really good.
Here we go.
What is it?
And it's not like
He's
there's nothing
tied.
special about it. It's just wrapped up and it's just a normal ballpark hot dog, but it's better.
But you just call it something, and all of a sudden it just means more. I guess
It does just mean more.
It just means more.
It does
Yeah.
just
Oh,
mean
yeah,
more.
yeah,
There you go, Kinner. I didn't even set that up.
The Reds have the worst hot dogs in any professional setting.
I cannot wrap my head around people complaining about the food at Great American Ballpark.
Just hot dogs.
It's some of my favorite food
3,
at any
2, 1
ballpark I've ever been to.
Tuesdays.
Just hot dogs. I'm just talking about the hot dogs.
They're great.
Oh.
I think they
Just the
stink.
same as every other ballpark hot dog.
Oh, they are not the same. They stink.
I will say,
Reds hot dogs.
when
And
I
they're
went to
$7.
Wrigley
They're $2
last
on
year, and their Chicago dog right in Wrigley, so good.
Yeah, that's great.
Probably the best ballpark hot dog. It's
my favorite.
Wrigley's a dump.
I was so excited to say that I had a Dodger dog, so I ordered the Dodger dog. And I'm like, it's just a hot dog.
Really let you down.
And really expensive
Nate is
hot
gr-
dog.
What was on it?
I mean, nothing.
What's
just
up to you?
So you-
yeah.
oh,
It's just
that's a
that's what I
gem.
mean. Like, it's
So
not
there's nothing
like
special about
no,
it.
it's just a plain dog.
Nate is correct. The $2 hot dogs are 100% better than the regular hot dogs that they serve.
They have to be beef.
Why would you buy
Beef hot dogs are so good.
from like Porkopolis?
You gotta get that.
It's the same price as like Skyline.
That's where you get hot dogs, though. What do you mean?
If it's not 3-2-1 though, you're gonna spend $6 on a hot dog.
That's what I'm talking about. This is the whole.
You have to reassess your financials.
No, that's
you're
not,
wasting money.
That's a hot dog. I'm getting a hot dog. It's $7 for a terrible hot dog.
You go in there and you pay $20 for a bag of popcorn and a hot dog, and then you complain about the food at the ballpark.
Wrong. See, this is where Jacob slanders.
What's your favorite food item at the ballpark?
Hot dog.
And
Popcorn.
right.
You don't go to you don't go to what is it? 50 West.
50 West is the best.
Love their burgers. You have.
I knew I love Pearl. Best food in the stadium. 50 West burgers by a mile.
That's
Love.
fine. That's fine. Fry box.
I'm amazed.
Fry box.
Fry box.
$17 for some pulled pork French fries.
You don't
And
want
then
some
they're all
cotton candy
soggy.
French fries?
They're soggy in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they are.
Have
bad.
you had the sweet one?
No.
I physically want to throw up when the person in front of me orders it.
No, I'm not.
What?
It's like French fries, like
Yep.
chocolate sauce,
Ew.
caramel,
That's a thing?
Like
pretzels,
marshmallows and crap on it?
marshmallows.
Oh no.
It's the sweet whatever.
That's
it's
something
just,
a
it looks
toddler would
disgusting.
make, and then they
see.
just like yeah.
I like the buffalo chicken fries. Those
Remember
are
that
good.
next time you bashed the Castellinis, how many ballparks are offering that?
That's
Okay?
right.
They put us first.
That's right.
All right.
What's that Montgomery Inn thing back next to the fry box down the first
Ooh.
baseline with all the chairs and they
Oh,
have
is
like
it the
Mr.
smokehouse?
Red's
yeah, like the
Smokehouse?
special
Mr. Red's
stuff.
Smokehouse?
Yeah.
And you sit back there and you can't see the field. They don't have TVs.
Yeah,
Food.
yeah.
To be fair, though, you don't want to watch.
No, God, no. That's why
Well,
I
my-
go play baseball with the 5-year-olds.
That's right.
Yeah, my favorite's they put up the little like playground area for the kids.
Wiffle
Like,
ball
yeah, because
yard.
nothing's better than bringing your kids to a ball game so they go play in a park. How about you just go to the park across the street? That's probably free. So you
Yeah.
know,
Elliot tried to take some hacks in there one time when we were doing a man on the street, and they said no.
They told me no.
no fun. Not a fan. Not a fan. Yeah, Dodger dog, no bueno.
Get you a Denny dog. You'll change your mind.
One day. All right, we're closing it out.
That's it.
Good stuff. Pearl, good job. Jacob, good job.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Until next week, off the bench.